welcome to the Dojo Talk Podcast. Please remove them shoes before entry. Sam Master is here, and you still have not taken off your shoes.
Yeah. Living every day to define man's mission. Looking to the sky for divine transmission. Deaf man's vision makes the blind man listen. Eyes on the prize, this is blind ambition. Thank you.
Welcome to this edition of the Dojotalk Podcast. I'm your host, Serial Sensei. We're on episode number 143. This is take 2 of this intro. As always, you can give this podcast a listen on SoundCloud, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, as well as Google Play. Give us a look on social media at the Dojotalkpodcast Facebook page, as well as the Instagram page. Send questions to dojotalkpodcast@yahoo.com. And you can follow me on Twitter, as well as Twitch, at Serial Sensei for the second time, but you guys didn't hear the first one. But I'm joined, as always, co-host the Anti-Cool, and we dragged along Joy because he is the... anytime fights happen overseas, he's like our overseas correspondent, even though he lives here. But he comes on for all the overseas cards for some reason.
For the bad ones.
Yeah, and this one wasn't terrible.
Well,
but
like I got the Moncton card, I got the Poland card. That there was that one time. I'm here for the weird cards.
That Moncton card was a rough time.
Yeah,
it was a little better. There's a little upgrade from that.
I'm here for the strange and the obscure.
Yeah. Somebody's got to do it.
You should have been here for the last one.
Yeah, that boy. Whew.
Oh, wait, no, because then this podcast they wouldn't have been able to listen to it in their grocery stores or their local public libraries, because I would have said a lot of mean things about them.
Yeah, that
would have been nice.
But that car was a task. So before we get started, boy, it feels weird recording an intro twice because none of you guys heard what I said the first time. So I have to reiterate a warning to the listeners. I'm a little sick. If you can notice, my voice is not 100%. Summer cold is in full effect. It won't leave me alone. So if I'm coughing and grunting and clearing my nose during the episode, just don't mind me. I'm gonna try to keep it to a minimum, but I can't laugh without coughing, which is gonna suck because I'm probably gonna laugh at some point during this episode, and I'm gonna cough, and then it's gonna sound like I'm dying. So if you hear that noise, I'm okay. Just summer colds suck. Stay hydrated. Take your medicine. Don't be like me. I don't know how I got sick, but it just happened. It's just trash. Drink vitamin C, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, episode 143. Thank you guys for listening. Shout outs to all the listeners, Tumblr people, Twitter people. Share, post, retweet, send to everybody you know. Tag mom, grandma, dad, uncle, fast food worker, librarian, and it's anybody
you see on the street.
Yeah, random people. If you can't give the homeless guy money, give him this podcast in some way. I don't know how that works.
I was about to say, how's he gonna listen to it?
You know what you could do? You could give him money and buy him a meal, and y'all could sit down and listen to the podcast together.
Yeah, there you go. Community outreach.
Just give him your phone.
At your own risk.
I mean, a little risky, but that's up to you. It's how you want to do it.
Yes. You got to make the world a better place somehow.
Exactly.
Hey, that's
next time you go, yeah.
It's a good way. Just spread the love. That's all we ask you. Just spread the love.
Next time you go to a party, just put it on instead of music. Then hide so they don't know who you are.
Just make sure it's like a random house party where you don't know anybody. Just walk inside.
Just show up.
Yeah, that's definitely, you got to do that at the house party where you only know like one other person.
But make sure you eat first because they may kick you out.
Yeah.
I mean, you leave as soon as you put it on.
You might not make it
wait.
You might not make it past the intro. And boy, if you direct them to this episode, I'm just gonna be coughing all over that loudspeaker, so that might not go too well. But you gotta do what you gotta do. So yeah, thank you guys as always for listening. As far as today's episode, it wouldn't be. Well, we're not gonna jump into John Jones yet, but he just kind of find his way into episodes. He's John Jones. It wouldn't be an MMA week if we didn't mention him, but we'll be covering some headlines in the MMA world. We will be, of course, covering fights, UFC 240. I'll probably run through Rousing 17. I only really watch one fight from it, but I'll just read results. Um, and I will probably briefly talk about this Gervonta Tank Davis fight, which lasted all of 2 rounds. So that'll be a thing. And then, of course, we will run through fight announcements and news and all of that. So I guess we can just go ahead and kick that off. If my computer would like to, if it would like to help me out here, I'm struggling trying to get my notes up. There we go. Okay. News and notes for the week. So I have a pretty decent list of fight announcements, and then we'll run through those, and then we'll go back and. Oh, you know what? Actually, you want to do this like last week, where we kind of had to do the sad news first.
Yeah. And we forgot, we talked about it before we started recording last week, but we actually did not get a chance to talk about it during the podcast. And then the story developed even further.
Maxim Dadashev. Can we start with him real quick?
Yeah. I got him and Hugo.
Yeah.
Both written down.
So for those of you who've been following the story, Maxim Dadashev fought. I want to say it was on ESPN. Like one of the ESPN platforms last Friday, not on, what was it, July 19th. For Top Rank, he fought Subriel Matias. His trainer, Buddy McGurk, stopped the fight, and I want to say after the 11th round, Dadashev took a beating. He threw up on his way back to the dressing room. They took him to the hospital. They had to put him in a medically induced coma to treat his hematoma, and he has some internal bleeding. And on July 23rd, he passed away. So,
What was because I didn't read into the other one. What was Hugo's story?
I think it was just a fight in Brazil. Not Brazil, Argentina. Hugo Santillan. Let me just pull up the article I was reading before. 23-year-old Hugo dies after sustaining injuries. After sustaining injuries, the second death of the sport in the week. In a statement, the WSP explained that Santillan died at the San Felipe Hospital in Buenos Aires after being hospitalized following a fight with Eduardo Abreu Saturday. But he continued. He finished the fight. That's the thing. I haven't seen the fight. I don't know how out of it he was, or if it was like a case of just like gross negligence on his corner's part, or if it was just like with Dadashev, nobody until McGurk saw him in the 11th round. After the 11th round, there was no way of knowing,
Yeah, and I didn't really see either fight, but I at least saw clips of the Dadashev fight.
Yeah.
And I felt really bad for his corner, man, because we talk about this a lot on this podcast about in MMA. We kind of wish sometimes corners would save their fighters more. Like sometimes they take unnecessary beatings, and it's just at some point it just seems like it's not really worth it. Like just get them out of there, let them live to fight another day.
Right.
And here you have a cornerman who was clearly trying to do the right thing. Like he sat him down after the 11th, and he told him like, dude, you're getting hit too much. We got to stop the fight. Like we can't let you go out there and just keep doing like this. and like he clearly was trying to do the right thing, trying to protect his guy, and it just kind of one of those unfortunate just situations where you just it doesn't happen often, but every now and then you just kind of get that gut check realization of just how dangerous not just boxing but like combat sports in general is and can be. And I can't speak on the Hugo Santillon situation because I didn't read much into that one, but I can say at least for the Dadashev situation, it almost I don't want to say it was like unavoidable, but it was just one of those things where it felt like there was hindsight is always 50-50. I'm pretty sure there are people around that situation who are probably looking back thinking, oh, maybe I should have did this or maybe I should have stopped it earlier, but just kind of looking back at all the information that I was able to gather, it almost seemed like, unfortunately, there was no way none of us knew this was gonna. You didn't know this was gonna happen. Like it's just one of those unfortunate situations where you're just kind of reminded, like this is a brutal combat sport, and it can have some terrible consequences.
Exactly, this is an outcome that can, like, it doesn't have to. Like that's the thing, like. It doesn't have to be after like the end of a beating or a war or something. All it takes is one bad punch. So, like, this ain't no game.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah. That was a rough headline to wake up to because he was like 26, something like that.
He was young.
Yeah.
So,
Joey, did you see any of these fights at all?
The two boxing fights?
Yeah. Did you?
No. Like I was unaware of it until my mom texted me to let me know that somebody had died. So that's when I knew it was like a big story.
Yeah.
Because when people who don't follow the sport start kind of chit-chatting about it, that always catches my attention. You know what's weird? Like, we're gonna talk about this a little bit more when we get to Max Holloway, but it is always weird to think how how combat sports is just like you could have something like this happen and then the train just picks right back up. You know, because this happened on a Monday and then Friday, Saturday, we were all getting excited about another card. If you're a boxing fan, you had plenty of boxing to get excited about. If you're an MMA fan, you had plenty of MMA to get excited about. And it's always weird how quickly we can shift. Because this, I could think about watching some of these fights on Saturday was the tragedy that happened beforehand. And it does shift your perspective because there were a few fights that got stopped maybe a little early. But at the same time, like at the start of the week, we were dealing with two people who lost their lives in combat sports. So to me, that was fine. But it's just weird. It's weird how we are. Because I always view it like how do we interpret it? And it's just weird like how long it's gonna take. Because when the guy died when the Brazilian guy died in MMA, can't remember his name. Apologies. It was like a solid 2-week period where everybody was very sensitive about it, and then we just started to go right back to normal. So I'm curious to see how long before hardcore boxing fans, kind of just get back on the train, so to speak. It's a tragedy. It's unfortunate. Some of this, from everything I've heard, it seems like it was just an unavoidable thing. Apparently, it was a good match, like a good fight between two guys. Safer trainers. I've seen him stop fights earlier before, so it's just kind of a tragedy that there's no easy recourse. It's not like a case where you can clearly see something was terribly wrong apparently, and
Right.
It's just a pain. I feel for their families. It always sucks when you get hit with that reality that this is a dangerous sport, as you said, and like what could come of this, I kind of really don't have. My hope is that, and again, we don't know. More lax sparring, less people going full force, but we don't even know if this guy was an intense sparrer either. So it's just unfortunate and tragic.
I would hope that if nothing else, and if nothing else comes from this, and like you said, we do kind of move on pretty quick. But I would just hope, if, at least for a moment, everybody takes a step back and just kind of realizes like how kind of serious things can get when it comes to this extreme. Like we don't see this that often, but it does happen. It's like just reinforcing that like fighter safety, fighter health is like a super super important thing that needs to be taken into account, and hopefully like people who are trainers, fighters, people who are like actually in the world, on the front line, so to speak, you know, take it more seriously, like you said, not trying to kill each other in sparring, like just kind of being smarter. And this doesn't really, I'm not applying this to Dadashev because I'm not inside his gym. I don't really know what goes on. And like I said, it seemed like his corner was really doing the right thing, but just hopefully everybody can take a step back, if you think something's wrong with your guy, or just, don't be so hesitant to pull them back. Like sometimes you gotta rescue them from themselves, if you can. And like I said, with this situation, it was kind of one of those things where it's like unfortunately, there probably wasn't much anybody could have done, because it didn't look like he was really super out of it until you saw he had to get helped out of the cage. But like we've seen guys take like worse, I guess, punishment and walk away, I guess, fine, quote unquote. I don't know, just kind of reinforcing just fighter health, fighter safety, as much as you can in a sport that is, unfortunately just can be unforgiving. But
and not to pile, or just to, because eventually we're gonna have to talk about this Edmonton card, but I think that sort of did impact my enjoyment or my interest. I guess it's so fresh to me that I was having a hard time rewarding toughness, in the sense that like, oh, she's taken a lot of damage, or she's like, oh, she walked through all those shots. Like it almost kind of made me uncomfortable because of what happened at the beginning of the week.
Right.
So
yeah,
it was like this weird dichotomy where toughness can be a hindrance, and watching it was a very uncomfortable feeling all week given the situation. And boxing's had a bad slide, man. I think last week, Pernell Whitaker, it's been a rough couple weeks.
yeah. And I'll probably circle back to the situation when I talk about the Gervonta Davis fight, because they mentioned that during commentary, that some people thought that TKO might have been a little early, but considering that was it Dadashev? I think he fought in Maryland. That card was here, or so yeah. Just people were like, was that stopped a bit early? But on the same token, it's like, dude, we literally just had somebody die here like a week ago. So, but just really, really unfortunate, man. Rest in peace to Maxim Dadashev. Rest in peace to Hugo Alfredo Santillan. Super unfortunate situation. All right, we got the sad news out the way. So let's move on to some fight announcements. So got a pretty decent list of fight announcements here. I feel like I've written this fight down 80 times. Robert Whitaker versus Israel Adesanya is at UFC 243. I don't know why I wrote this down again. I feel like we've talked about this fight like 20 times on this podcast. But it's like official now. So that's going down at UFC 243. Also on the same card, we will be having Tai Tuivasa versus Sergey Spivak. I don't know why I say his name like that, but. And Megan Anderson versus Zara Farn dos Santos, if I'm saying that correctly. At UFC Boston, Chris Weidman will be making his 205 debut against Dominic Reyes. And I'm going to pause right here. How are we feeling about this matchup?
It depends on which version of Chris Weidman shows up. Because if it's the dude who we saw, like the guy who came over was like a pressure boxer who would walk you down and take your space and use the jab to come forward, then I think he does pretty well, like against Reyes. I think if he fights off the back foot, he's going to tire himself out, and he's just going to and he's just gonna give Reyes, who's equally, if not longer than him, just like the space to operate and do his own thing, and probably knock him out. So
Yeah, I'm kind of torn on this matchup, which I didn't think I would be, but I think I want to be optimistic and say Weidman will have a much better first impression at 205 than Rockhold did, and I feel like Weidman hasn't looked bad in his last couple fights. Just sometimes he just doesn't end up on the right end of the stick. Like he'll have really good moments, but it just won't equal to a win. And his size at 205, and wrestling ability, overall skill set, I think should translate really well to 205. But like sometimes he's just such a question mark. Like you said, you kind of don't know what you're gonna get. I think if he's operating at 100%, I think he can win this fight. But I'm not 100% sure, man. I'm not I'm not as comfortable as I thought I would be picking him. Because I feel like Reyes looked vulnerable in the fight, the Vulcan fight.
right.
So I've realized with Reyes that as much as I want to see him get a title shot, he's probably not ready for it. And I think a guy like Weidman could give him a lot of issues. But I don't know what Weidman I'm getting. So I'm not saying this with a lot of certainty. But by the skin of his teeth, I'm gonna give Reyes his win, but I'm not 100% confident. But I'm gonna give him this win and say he edges out a really probably tough fight. He's really gonna have to dig deep and work for.
Total recency bias here. If Weidman Reyes is announced before I see Luke Rockhold get smelted, I'm probably picking Weidman, but because I just saw the guy who beat Chris Weidman get wiped out by, I'm not on because if the fight happens before we see Rockhold, Jan Blachowicz, all we have is like Anthony Smith and Thiago Santos going up and just wrecking shop. Then you throw Rockhold into the equation, and you're like, oh well, he's absolutely gonna be, and he gets wiped out. So like off the face of the earth style wipeout. So I guess it's just recency bias because now I'm a little less confident in Chris Weidman. And I think Reyes is a tough matchup for him. Kind of the guy who can match his athleticism, hits a little bit harder than Weidman does, has a better understanding of pacing than most of Weidman's opponents. I'm going to assume that the Ozdemir fight was just a bad night for Reyes, and I think he takes this one.
That's fair. All right,
but like it's weird not to cut you. It's weird how he went from 2016 being probably one of the top 10 fighters in the world to like this guy who may be a live dog against a dude who is pretty unproven and he's got some flaws of his own.
Boy, injuries. It's just.
It really is like, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
Like what you guys said, this is a guy whose neck could at any given moment potentially cause him to pull out of this fight.
Yeah. And you hate to see it because he's really talented, but it's like, God, I don't even know how much your body is just. It seems like it's hanging on by a thread.
Right.
And I don't know when it's gonna fall apart. But
I want to
The man is a ticking time bomb.
Really,
Yeah.
like he's not here for a long time.
yeah. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm really looking forward to that fight. Boy, if Weidman gets wiped out at 205, then maybe we were wrong about this whole. You know what? No, we weren't. We weren't wrong. You guys went to 205 like 8 years too late.
Would agree. Would agree. Oh, who would you give the cardio advantage to?
Ooh.
Because Weidman was never a great, because he's such a pressure fighter that he would get tired. And Reyes kind of came on pretty strong against Ozdemir, but we've never seen him in a 5-round fight. First main event, probably going to be some pressure.
I feel like Weidman had a pretty good pace against Jacare.
I would agree.
That was a pretty good. I thought that was a pretty good pace he set.
And against Machida, like last time he had to go 5 rounds against Machida, I thought he was pretty decent.
I don't know. They might be. I might give a slight edge to Reyes, but they probably not. I don't think it's a super significant gap. I think they might be around the same.
What do you guys think about this being on a Friday? Because Anna Cole and I were chit-chatting about that.
Oh, I did not know this was on a Friday.
Yeah, it's a Friday card.
Lord. Okay. Well, that means I will be missing it.
Wait. But like, I don't. First off, I'm totally cool with more MMA cards at weird hours on weird days, but I'd like to know why it's on Friday.
I checked in like the TV Garden or whatever. It's open that Saturday. It's not like they have like a hockey game or something.
Right.
Who knows?
And it's on ESPN Plus. You can air it any time on ESPN Plus.
The ESPN Plus have like a big like event on that Saturday, where that's literally like they want that to be the thing.
I don't know. It could be. I have to see what's going on in some of these other sports.
Is
There
Bud Crawford
could be
fighting?
there could be something else coming up.
Ooh, that's an interesting.
Maybe that's why.
There probably is something else coming up that weekend.
This is weird.
But
I like the main event though. I think this is a worthy main event fight.
yeah, I like it. I like it. I really do like this matchup because I think whoever wins we'll figure out a lot about both of them. We'll
And
see how
there's-
much
yeah.
Chris Weidman like has left if it looks like he can still keep this going, and depending on how Reyes looks, we'll see how much closer he is to getting a title shot.
This is the number one contender fight for you?
I think it is because I feel like if Weidman goes in and he like hypothetically speaking, let's say Weidman goes in and wipes him out, I think they don't waste any time and do Weidman Jones.
Yeah, because you don't know how long you're gonna have either guy. So.
Yeah, and because it doesn't seem like nobody's adamant and nobody wants to give Santos a rematch. It seems like that's not on the table. And
I think John Jones said he would, but when I heard him say it, I'm like, yeah, when? In 2021 when his knees fully recovered? Like, this
Right.
guy had major reconstructive knee surgery.
yeah,
Both
I think
knees.
this is a number one contender fight. I'm pretty sure it is.
Because, well, I guess we're going to talk about that when we talk about Jones, but there's room to be had for somebody to sneak in there.
Lord.
Wait. Which John Jones situation are we talking about here? On this
All of them.
Because there's like seven ones.
I got two on the burner. One I didn't write down, but I got to remember because I just watched it.
I think that's what I'm talking about. The other situation, the other situation is why we may not see Jones.
Yeah. But moving on, UFC Mexico City, they announced a lot of fights. Headline on the card, we'll have Yair Rodriguez versus Jeremy Stevens. Also on the card, we'll have Sergio Pettis versus Alex Perez, Marion Renault versus Irene Aldana, Paul Craig versus Vinicius Moreira, and Angela Hill versus Estela Nunez. At UFC 241, we will have Drakkar Klose versus Christos Giagos. And that's all I have for UFC fight announcements. And then for Bellator, we mentioned on the last podcast that Miles Jury got signed to Bellator, and then like a day later, his fight got announced. So we'll have Miles Jury versus Vincent Henderson at Bellator 227, and we'll have Nick Newell who signed a one fight contract. Nick Newell will be fighting Corey Browning at Bellator 225. And the last bit of news I have is I'm gonna butcher his last name, but the gentleman from the Fight Contender Series who did not get signed because apparently takedowns in the last 10 seconds are frowned upon in that establishment. Mr. Brendan, is it Lugney? Logain?
Logney.
Logney.
You missed the fight.
He got signed with PFL. Oh, he signed with PFL, I should say.
We missed a big Bellator announcement.
Yeah.
Antonio McKee's confirmed. They're going to do McKee and McKee on the same card. Anti-Cool. This is Anti-Cool's fault.
Hey,
It sounds like something you'd think of.
When's the last time Antonio McKee has fought?
was it when he got knocked out and tapped to Shinya Aoki?
God,
Could be.
this is what we do.
I don't understand though why. Like, I don't get why they did this.
Yeah, like it's not like a draw. He was
They're gonna try to make it one. They're gonna try to pump the story like, oh, father, dad, you've never seen this before.
I saw what's his name avenge his father. So freaking
Ray Cooper.
Ray
Yeah.
Cooper. Yeah, we saw him avenge his father.
But I just don't think this is like, I don't know, man. Like, this seems like a favor to somebody.
But to who?
It
I don't-
seems like a
It certainly isn't a favorite to Antonio
it's
McKee.
this is a cash grab, but there'll be no cash. Like it seems like it's something they drew up because they wanted like a cool headline. But I don't
I mean, did they work for Ryzen?
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't like.
I mean, I guess I don't know if both of them win. You know, it'd be a cool story, yada yada. But
I want to William Siriapai. That's the dude he's fighting. Why is he listed as a middleweight?
Maybe that's the weight class. Maybe it'll be 170.
Well, yeah, he weighs 168 according to Topology. He's also 1-4 in his last 5.
Does weight class even matter in this? But
I
does
mean-
weight class matter in this fight?
I just wanted to know if they were going to give Antonio McKee like a big dude or somebody who's like around his size.
I haven't seen Antonio McKee. I don't know what his size is anymore.
well, Bellator's they're gonna make sure we find out.
He could
I'm
be
a-
prep. Go ahead.
I'm gonna laugh if AJ McKee loses his fight with Georgie because of this. Because his dad's too busy getting ready for a fight.
I'll be wild if Antonio wins and AJ loses. Jesus Christ, that would be terrible. If, like AJ just gets starched, which I don't think will happen. I'm pretty. I think AJ will win that fight, but this is MMA and it's Bellator. Like you just buckle up.
Whatever
Buckle
can
up.
go wrong will go wrong.
Right, basically.
I think
here's
Antonio
the
should
other
have gotten
thing.
that.
That fight's a prelim.
I don't know, man.
The AJ fight or the Antonio fight?
The Antonio fight. Like I just realized that's the really good card with like Patricio Pitbull and Juan Archuleta and
Yeah, you don't need a gimmick for this card.
yeah, like the fuck.
Is it Bellator if there isn't one gimmick somewhere?
Good point. What if Antonio's prepping for his Barbecue Fight League debut?
Hey, there we go.
He's got to get in a real fight to prepare for the realest.
This
fight.
is his like proving ground fight. You know, if he wins, we'll make that phone call.
He doesn't even want to do a camp. He's just going to do an actual fight to prepare. It's so
Hey.
tough.
And
I like-
then he loses to Tim Boach, and Tim Boach is now AJ McKee's real father.
I mean, hey man, when you come over to the Barbecue Fight League, you know what you signed up for.
Put it all on the table.
Yeah, you putting it all. You know, you gotta really hug and kiss your family, let them know like this might be the last time you guys see me for a while.
So is it AJ McKee against the Boach family and Tim Boach's riding mower? Is that what's on the line in this main event?
Yeah. Well, I mean, if Tim Boach wins, he also gets like Team Body Shop.
Wow. There's a lot on the line here.
Yeah,
So-
man. Hey man,
so-
you gotta come here. You gotta be ready.
Tim Boach gets the featherweight spot that AJ McKee has, but he doesn't have to cut any weight. It's like a free voucher.
They're gonna throw him into the Grand Prix.
Yeah, he just shows up. He's like, I didn't even have to cut any weight for this. He just walks in at 227.
He somehow still loses the Pitbull.
Tim Boach is gonna train baby Kimbo into like baby slice into like a world class fighter. It's gonna happen. Watch.
I'm so with this. I'm with all of this right now.
Barbecue Fight League, man. It's coming. By 2022, we're getting it off the ground. It'll probably close that same year, but that's not the point. It's not the point.
Look, the point is to do it. It's not to make it viable or have any longevity.
One
If
of
you
it is
do-
considered a success.
Yeah, if you do one show, you prove the haters wrong. You did at least one.
Yep. So, coming, guys. But that's all I got for fight announcements. So boy, we move on to some headlines, and boy, do we have some interesting headlines. So let's start with this catfish situation.
Oh wait. Did we duck the BJ Penn fight announcement for genuine reasons or just forgot?
God, you had to be. I purposely did not write that down.
I see.
Yeah.
BJ's fighting in Abu Dhabi, guys. That's all you need to know.
Fighting Nick Lentz. Have at it. Ooh.
Why would they invite Nick Lentz to Abu Dhabi?
What's that supposed to mean?
Why did anybody call BJ Penn's phone? Or did he just harass them for a fight? I don't know how these things work, but somebody needs to not answer their phone in that situation.
Apparently, he harassed Dana for the fight, and then it was like, this is your last one, end of discussion. And then somebody asked, like, well, what if he wants to go fight somewhere else? And Dana was like, I can't control that. So this is not the last one, long story short.
This is on. I mean, just cut him.
I don't know why that didn't happen 8 fights ago.
I had a discussion with that about somebody else. Like, if you cut him and he goes to fight elsewhere, like, is that really any better?
Yes.
It's
Yes.
My argument was,
At least you can wash your hands clean.
it might not have happened, but like at the same time, like the person I was talking to was, what if BJ winds up in like the bare knuckle fight league? Like he's still fighting. You didn't stop him.
I mean, it's not so much about you stopping him fighting altogether. It's just like, dude, if you're gonna fight, I'm not gonna be a part of it. So
Understood.
yeah, I'm gonna get you at least from under my umbrella and my wing, and you can go fly and do whatever you want somewhere else. But you can't have fun here. The doors are closed.
Or a commission just needs to be like, listen, it's over.
Yeah.
It's just over. But when I was with you, when we were doing the Russia card, when he was fighting dudes with machetes, apparently, it's like if he's not training for a fight, I am genuinely worried about what he would be doing.
Apparently, there's the same old shit because like a lot of this stuff is happening when he's supposed to be traiing for.
Yeah,
fights.
I know, but like even imagine if he had even more free time, because you're not wrong. Like these BJ Penn stories have been around for a bit, but I don't know, man. Like it's an uncomfortable situation, especially given how the week started. It was like, oh, really? We're gonna do this again?
Yeah.
Yeah, like what a fucking week to announce that BJ Penn's gonna be fighting some more.
And it's like Nick Lentz is he's not a traditional power striker, but like he's got pop to him.
Please put this on a Fight Pass prelim.
Oh, it's for sure gonna be like
Nobody needs to see this.
It's gonna be the main event.
And I wonder, like, because you remember Renzo Gracie wound up on the first Abu Dhabi card because he knew a lot of people from the region. Like, did that have something to do with it? Like, is there like, hey, can you bring a little bit more oomph? And they were like, we got BJ around, or
Did BJ win like Abu Dhabi or something? Like I know he won Mundials, but
I'm not the big BJ Penn historian on the so.
If BJ Penn was a selling point to Abu Dhabi and they bid on that,
well, yeah, he was on the first one they did there, right?
Yeah, against Frankie Edgar.
So that makes sense.
yeah.
I just don't know. Like, I'm just trying to come up with reasons why you would do this.
The world is it's a mad, crazy place.
Because this feels like the 5th fight in a row where it's like, that's the last one.
Yeah, whatever. We'll move on.
Do you just to wrap this up? Do you think Uriah Faber winning might have made them kind of feel like, well, maybe some of these guys still have some left?
Nah, I think something else happened. I would like to believe that Uriah Faber was not the spark
Well,
that made him look at BJ and say, yeah, you know.
I'm just trying to find some reasons because, like,
What would be the excuse for like the previous 50 BJ fights?
Right.
he asked. I guess
It just must be. His harassing skills just must be on 100. Like he must be very relentless.
Well, what is it? What is it when you play like D&D? He's got I don't know what term they. His charisma must be really high.
Yeah, it's too high. God.
It's just unfortunate. It's unfortunate because, like, even at the same time, if he doesn't fight, like, if he doesn't fight in the UFC, he's fighting somewhere, and I guess it's still like I don't want to see BJ Penn, Leonard Garcia in like the bare knuckle fight league.
I kind of do.
You know,
That
we're
blood
trying to
will
have
be
a
on,
moment here.
that blood will be on your hands.
Yeah, we're
I mean, no, you know who the blood's on BJ's hands and Leonard's hands. If
Good point. See,
listen,
now,
if they don't want to stop, that's on them.
what if BJ builds a Hawaiian night fights team? Is that possible? Do they have weight classes in the night fight realm?
I'm down as long as like he's just a coach, but he can't be out there. Cause I've seen people get KO'd in Battle of the Nations. It's not pretty.
This is all the more reason to ban that thing from society.
I think it's great.
I'm the lone man on this one.
Guys, if you haven't watched Battle of the Nations, you need to go to YouTube right after you listen to this podcast and go find a nice 40 on 40. just
No,
watch
because he would sneak in there. He would just sneak in if it was that many people.
He might get a KO over there. He probably could blindside somebody with a sword that they just didn't see coming.
Could we use Tough for like BJ Penn? Just bring it back and have him and Mark Coleman get paychecks to just not do anything.
I don't know.
It just feels like this was such a weird week to like obviously the worst week ever to announce this fight, but any week would have been bad. Could have been Christmas week and it would have been bad.
It would have been worse. But we'll move on from BJ. I don't want to talk about BJ.
So I guess we're all taking Nick Lentz, right?
Yes. Sadly.
Is there any situation where Nick Lentz can lose this fight?
If BJ lands one of those slow motion uppercuts, we can time it just right.
Anacle, you're BJ Penn's coach. How are you getting him? How are you getting him through this?
BJ Penn has a coach.
Yeah, Jason Perillo. You're Jason Perillo right now. I think it's Jason.
When he has his back turned in training, I take a baseball bat and just fucking kneecap him.
You're not going out there, kid.
Awful.
Hey, I'm saving him from himself.
Yes, somebody has to do it.
I'm just like, it's just uncomfortable. You can only laugh to stop from crying, and I'm not a BJ Penn fan, so this is.
Man, I'm past caring. I'm just like, okay, this dude is obviously spiraling, and at this point, everybody's just enabling him. So fuck it.
Yeah, that's like, wow. But yeah, I'm with you there. I'm with you there in the general principle.
Bye, BJ. Bye. But
again, a commission needs to step in and say something.
Yeah, like what are they even there for if they're not going to stop people from harming themselves? Like they used to tell wrestlers they weren't allowed to compete, and wrestling's not even fucking real. But they'll fucking clear Chuck Liddell and BJ Penn in 2019 to fight.
Yeah, like I'm just reminded of the dude from I think Larry Hazard was his name, from New Jersey.
Right.
Who went to see Hector Camacho train for like a big fight that they were promoting, and he took like 2 looks at him and was like, "This is not gonna happen here." And of course, it eventually wound up happening elsewhere because that's how commissions work. But like, it's okay to take a stand and just say this is not gonna happen.
yeah, nobody's losing out on missing the next BJ Penn scrap. Do us all a favor.
It's not like Hawaii doesn't have a serious amount of talent right now that
All right.
you don't need to do this.
Yeah. But moving on to some weird headlines. I never thought I'd see catfish and UFC in the same sentence. But the sport just finds ways to surprise us every week. So Cody Garbrandt, who didn't do anything, he was just being Cody, minding his own business. But in the deep dark world of the interwebs, a Welshman named Paul Davies, a supermarket worker, he thought it would be a cool idea to use Cody Garbrandt's picture on his Tinder profile, luring unsuspecting women as he proclaimed himself as a 28-year-old businessman who worked for Audi and lived in a nice penthouse suite. Apparently in this little Tinder catfish scam he had going on, he racked up 20 G's somehow. What I don't understand is you said you work for Audi, but you got people to get you 20 G's, so I don't... trying to understand what the women were thinking when this gentleman who worked for Audi, who I would think if you work for Audi, you probably make a decent sum of money. But that's neither here nor there. Somehow, in all of these Tinder interactions, he made more than 20 G's. The savior of this story was the nephew of, I guess, one of the women who spotted the photo, and he was like, "Hey, that's Cody Garbrandt." The operation got busted. Davies was found guilty on 8 counts of fraud by false representation during a court hearing on Friday, and he was sentenced to 34 months in jail. And at minimum, he'll serve 17 months, I guess, depending on how their court system works out. I don't know how it goes, but yeah, MMA and catfishing. That's the thing. So I hope none of you guys out there, don't get catfished when you're swiping and you see a Michelle Waterson picture pop up. She doesn't want you, buddy. Just throwing it out there, man. Listen, man, you got to protect yourself on the internet. It's a cruel world out there, man. People are, trying to take advantage of other people. If it's too good to be true, it probably is. Just saying. I don't know if you guys have anything to add to this story.
What is there to say? Stop taking advantage of lonely people.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes.
Leave lonely people alone, brothers and sisters.
I mean, maybe don't leave them alone, but like.
Well, you know what I meant.
Don't. Yeah.
And to the catfisher, you could have picked another fighter. Like
that's what I keep doing.
Like I get it. Like MMA is not the most popular sport. Like there are a lot of faces in MMA you could throw out, and the average person probably wouldn't know who they were. But like Cody was a champ. Like you could have picked somebody a little more inconspicuous. Probably was decent looking. You might have got away with this a little longer. But
he's got a neck tattoo, guys.
Right. Like he's kind of a noticeable, he doesn't have the most like low key of looks. Like the dude is tatted up face to bottom. Like he kind of stands out.
Yeah, like you could have quite have easily gone on like Instagram or Facebook or like wherever they sell stock photos, and gotten yourself a tattooed up dude who would draw in the type of crowd that would just give you $20,000 for your gambling addiction. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, maybe you don't pick the most famous guy.
Yeah. But well, Mr. Davies will have time to think about that while he's serving his jail time. So, yeah, I don't know, man. Just watch yourself on the internet, man. People are crazy. Like I said, if it's too good to be true, fellas, if you're out there, you see Michelle Waterson, you see Valerie Lareda, it's not them, man.
Those are two very specific names.
That's what I'm saying. I'm a little concerned.
I'm throwing out the people who I see who get thirsted over. So
okay.
I have to be specific.
I mean, there's like if you're a woman, I mean, you just don't not get thirsted over apparently. So
true. That is true. But
never go under the comments on Instagram.
Never go under the comments anywhere. But yeah, definitely don't.
I'm trying to think of which guy gets the similar treatment. I think it's Rockhold for a long time was like a meme.
Yeah. It's like Rockhold.
Did they flee from Rockhold now that his soul is in the astral plane? Does that like make him not attractive anymore? I don't know how that works.
I mean, you can't kiss a guy who you might knock out if you put lips on him.
Like, ooh.
Stop it. Luke Rockhold lives a better life than I ever will. He's fine. He'll get over it. His feelings are not hurt.
I don't know, man. He seems like the type of dude to hold a grudge, no matter how petty.
This is a good point.
Did he come back to Earth?
Wow.
Is he awake yet?
This is rude. This is really rude
Hey, you started.
conversation. I was merely making a point. Merely making a point. I think Connor is the guy who most women are now.
Yeah. Really?
Makes the most money, and he's
He looks
got
like that. He looks like that Instagram model dude. So
yeah. He makes the most
I'm
money.
pretty
He's got the
like
most
pretty-
elite look.
I'm pretty secure in my masculinity. I don't look at Connor and go like that's not the handsomest of fellas. I would say.
He's not. Yeah, he's not Yoel, but he's making do.
He doesn't give me that look that like women are like feigning over him.
Paulo Costa, maybe. Since we're talking about Yoel, maybe I don't know.
like,
This is where we need a female correspondent.
That's a good idea. We're gonna have to reach out. Wait, that's a great idea, actually.
I wonder. I wonder
that's
it's like
a good idea.
I wonder it's like an MMA social experiment. Can we just show like, you know how they do like the face-off photos, and just have somebody pick based on looks?
Oh yeah, there we go.
Interesting. I wonder if I could find somebody. I could probably find somebody who would participate in that.
Like, I want that like series that they have on like YouTube where like they show old people pictures of Pokemon and they have to like name them. But it's just women and MMA fighters.
No, it's got to be fight predictions. You got to predict.
No. I want them to be like, this dude looks like if he took me on a date, I'd end up in his trunk.
That's really not nice.
Oh boy.
Now, which fighter is that?
I'm not answering that. That's not being.
No, but we're gonna have to get we're gonna have to get a woman on this podcast. We need to get that other perspective of.
We'll find someone. We'll find someone who could give 2 cents.
I'll reach out. Speaking of people who reached out, apparently, and reached out.
What an awful, brutal segment. Awful segment.
I was trying to find a way to tie it in. That probably wasn't the best worded way.
You need to be suspended.
But apparently, like we say, man, every week, just John Jones he just finds his way into headlines. We don't ask for it, but he gives it to us. John Jones is back in the news again for reasons that no one should be in the news for. I'll preface this story by saying this is all alleged, but the story that broke, I think this was a couple days ago, UFC light heavyweight champ John Jones faces up to 6 months in jail for a battery charge stemming from an alleged incident at a strip club. His attorneys are saying that this is like all blasphemy and that none of this is going to hold up. I've also heard that some of the videos are starting to come out because obviously it's a strip club, so they're going to have video. From what I've read, the videos are probably, I ain't going to say they're going to tell another story, but they're making it seem like Jones is probably going to get off of this pretty easy. But anywho, the incident that happened, I don't know the name of the strip club, but Jones was in a strip club in New Mexico somewhere.
The Eubank, TD's Eubank Show Club in Albuquerque.
That was not a good strip club name.
It really isn't.
That's terrible.
Also, I think the woman. I'm looking at the TMZ photos. I'm pretty sure the woman sitting on Chandler Jones's lap is wearing glasses. I don't know why I had to point that out, but it felt important. It felt important to mention.
Well, in this strip club incident, allegations are that the waitress said that Jones, quote unquote, slapped her vagina, put her in a chokehold, and spun her around in the air.
This sounds like This sounds exactly like something John Jones would do.
Yeah, like when this headline broke, when I saw the spun in the air part, I was like, hold up, that sounds a little extra. And then I thought about it. I was like, this is John Jones we're talking about. I could envision like John Jones just snorted a line and then he just started bugging.
Jesus Christ. Christ.
Well, dude, John
Jesus
Jones is a fucking high
Christ.
schooler. Like, and this thing sounds exactly like something a high schooler would do.
Like, I could easily envision this being one of those things where, like, I don't think John was trying to be, like, in his mind, he was just trying to have a good time, and, like, he just maybe took it too far. Like, he was just really just, you know that one guy who just, like, he's not, like, malicious, but you got to tell him to chill out every now and again because he's kind of doing too much. I kind of got that vibe from this story. Like, I don't know. It's just so hard to give Jones the benefit of the doubt because he's Jones. Like,
He makes poor decisions
Yeah.
almost daily.
To Jones's credit, as of late, at least before this story broke, he's been on relatively good behavior. Like, we haven't heard any really bad headlines. He hasn't done anything too crazy. He's just been fighting, which has been great. He's been active, putting on good fights. It's been awesome. But it's just stories like this. I'm like, I can't say whether or not all of this is true, but I'm going to say part of this is probably true. He probably did do something that was probably like, all right, John, that was, you're doing a little too much. If it's really specific as to, yeah, he choked her and slapped her in the vagina, I don't know. But like I said, I think there are videos, so I'm guessing sooner or later we'll probably get to see this, like what actually happened. But I don't know. But not a good look for Jones. Like, he's just one of those guys who's just always kind of on thin ice, like in terms of his behavior. So you kind of just don't want to see his name brought up in any of these kind of situations because it's just not a good look.
Can we just talk about really quickly that he didn't know that there was a warrant out for his arrest?
Oh yeah, that too.
Yeah, the story broke, and John heard about it the same day we all did.
Now, in his defense, as somebody who did a lot of legal stuff, went to school to be a paralegal, that's not that uncommon. The idea that did I get cut out? You can hear me?
Yeah, we get you.
Okay, like the idea that there's a warrant out and like you don't know about it, that's actually not every once in a while. Like to have like deal with like people like that. So Anarcho, you want to go first on this one, or you want to?
Man, what is there to say? Remember when John Jones was Christian?
Yes, I do. It was an interesting time in all of our lives.
I'm talking about like 3 weeks ago.
John Jones has been 18 for the past 10 years now, right?
Yes. He's a high school senior with like his Letterman jacket, and nobody around him wants to tell him anything because he wins the football game. That is John Jones.
That's actually basically. Now, having said that, a lot of people, pro, con, whatever, a lot of folks wanted to rush to get their hot takes out really quickly. Let's let this one play out. Because everything about this is suspicious on all levels, from Jones's alleged response to like everything about this we need to just wait.
Yeah. I'll wrap this up with, well, I hate to wrap up
That
the story
includes
with
you, Brendan Schaub. Just wait.
I'm not even gonna go
I'm
there.
just saying. Everybody just take some time. Like
But
this is gonna.
I'll close this as much as I don't want to close with a quote from Dana, but Dana's last quote that I saw, he said, "Some of the videos are coming back. I've seen some of the videos of what happened." He said, "I don't want to talk about it because I don't want to hurt his case or whatever. But it's unfortunate that when you're famous, these type of things happen to you." He said, "From what I've seen so far, when it all surfaces and comes to the top, how should I word this? It looks good for John." So,
I don't believe a word Dana White.
Yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
In his defense, he did repeat this 2 days in a row, and that's actually something because normally by Saturday night he's got a different story.
Like, at the same time, this is like
It's the promoter.
Yeah, it's
talking
media.
about his top fighter.
It's just like what are the odds that any of us will ever see that video?
I don't know. We saw the McGregor
Yeah,
camera
no.
stomp video, so
It's coming out.
yeah, it's bound.
Well, like here, the difference is this is in Albuquerque. This is a place I'm assuming Jones goes frequently.
I would assume so too, because the woman in her like audio says like he gets away with fucking everything. So I wonder if he does go there frequently.
Yeah, like
Which, by the way, stop doing that. If you're John Jones, you're like one bad decision away from having serious long-term legal ramifications. Like, just stop.
Yeah, you gotta chill out.
dude, he needs to leave New Mexico like now.
But here's the thing.
There's strip clubs everywhere.
That's what I'm saying. Like, here's the
New Mexico's not the problem.
If he left New Mexico, if you put him on an island where it was like him and a boar and no people, he'd find a way to get himself into something.
Well, no, but like my thought process is he really does think he's the big man on campus. Like, and I maybe I'm going too far with like I think he's just too comfortable.
Okay. So you think like he's got to transfer to a different university where he's not as
where he's not the big fish in the pool.
I mean, all that's gonna happen is he'll go there, he'll be okay for like a week, and then he'll become the bad kid in the classroom.
Yeah, maybe, but like between like, and I think we talked about it after the card. Where like I don't like the direction that Jackson's is taking, or I'm gonna call it Jackson Wink because it's mostly Wink's fault.
Oof.
I mean,
Probably right.
Yeah, Jackson's not even coaching anymore, so like, I don't even know why his name's still on the marquee, other than the trick people into thinking he's still there. But like, not that I don't think Johns will find his way into trouble, but like, there's a dude who fucking committed a hit and run. He's like 6'5" and the most recognizable figure. And he just ran the fuck away from his car. Like he was
No.
never gonna get
Remember,
caught.
he did, but he also ran back to get his weed and then ran away.
Yeah,
He
like
came back.
this is obviously a man who thinks he is too smart for the community he's in.
John Jones, the mastermind criminal.
All John Jones has to do for like 3 years is not do anything.
But that's impossible for him because he loves this lifestyle.
He's definitely got like a FOMO, right?
I don't even know if it's that.
Well, I'm saying like he consistently seems like he's got to be where whatever the action is.
And that's the thing, like it's always small town action. Like again, like you're in Albuquerque. It shouldn't be that hard to stay out of trouble. I know there are bad parts of like Albuquerque, like the big meth problem and everything. But John Jones, as far as I can tell, John isn't doing meth. So
One hopes.
if so, his reign has been even more impressive than previously thought.
I'm just saying, like, all he has to do is not get in trouble. It's not like we're asking him to be I don't even care if you say things that upset people. Like, just don't get in any trouble.
I think you're basically asking him not to be himself.
Yeah.
Maybe, but like, if you go to like a barbecue place and there's like a scuffle or whatever, like that's a little different than going to a place that's probably more conducive to getting into trouble than not. You know what I mean?
Mm.
I think this is just Jones. Jones is who he is. He just.
It's like, and again, wait it out. Let the facts play themselves out for you. Don't rush to conclusions.
I mean, regardless, he's gonna be fighting.
I mean,
Anyway.
Right. I'm not disagreeing about that. Like,
We're kidding.
we know Jones. He likes the snow. He likes the snow bunnies, and he likes driving fast cars. Like that's who John Jones is.
he's living the Ric Flair life in 2019, and someone needs to like.
Yeah, we gotta get him to slow down.
Yeah, just like, or just don't fuck your money up. Like, little decisions like these. Don't go to a strip club. I'm not like, everybody's got the right to go if you're an adult, but like, how many times you gotta get in trouble before you just stop doing stuff like this or curtail it?
Well, that's the thing. Like, has he really got like John Jones obviously lost like $50 million in like missed paydays and stuff and like sponsorship, but
That's
like,
what I'm saying. Like,
has he really got into any trouble?
Not much.
Like he had to
Not as
do
much as you or I would have gotten into.
exactly like
But
it's just frustrating. Like he was having the banner year before this, and it's just frustrating, irritating.
it's Jones. Just
It's Jones is a good way to put it.
yeah. It's just,
imagine if Thiago Santos had won. I wonder if that would have refocused Jones or if he just would have been wild and even crazier.
Interesting.
One day we'll find out, maybe.
Or what would have happened if Holly won? Because I do think that there's some credence to the idea that Jones might have been thrown off by watching his friend get smelted before his very eyes. You know?
Yeah. Who knows?
Who knows? But Jones,
We didn't
Jones,
even-
good Jones.
We didn't even get to the other Jones story, which really isn't a Jones story. It's a tryhard story.
Nah, we're time constraints.
Corey Anderson is trying to get a John Jones fight. That's basically it.
Yeah, he's trying.
And doing it in the most ass way possible.
Yeah, he's trying. But we're an hour plus in, and we still got we still got fights to talk about.
Man, well, we covered a lot of good information.
I mean, I ain't mad at Corey. You know, you gotta do what you gotta do.
I am.
I
am.
I don't know if it's gonna work, but
it's just such a gimmick. Like he for 6 months he was talking nice to John Jones to like get a title shot, and then it didn't work. So he's like, "Well, I guess I gotta be mean," and it's like,
if you're gonna do it, you have to go all the fucking way with
that's
it.
yeah, like
Shannon Briggs style.
You can't just like. He basically came out and said, "Hey guys, I'm gonna be a heel now." Like, just announce your heel turn to the whole audience.
Yes. Fuck it. John Jones is in the strip club. Corey Anderson's in the strip club. That's how it has to be.
Oh man, here's what happens. So like, John goes to the door, and the bouncer stops him, and he's like, "You can't come in." And then he removes his like mask, and it's Corey Anderson, and he's like, "Unless you fight me at Madison Square Garden."
Exactly.
And then that's how you do it.
That's when I root for Corey Anderson to get his head kicked off. Don't you pull one of those stunts?
No, there you go. I just made it. I just booked it. Now we're gonna sell 1 million pay-per-views.
Corey Anderson's like outside Greg Jackson's while like the bikers, and he just like has a megaphone and be like, "Jones, you're gonna fight the real champ."
I took Winkle John's eye. It was me. It was me the whole time, John.
It was me, John.
Oh boy,
It's me all along.
Corey Anderson's that. What was that fight? Wasn't it a Tito fight where after the fight, some just guy popped up with a mask and he took the mask off?
What colors, wasn't it?
It
was just a random dude.
I just want Corey Anderson doing anything. He goes to Endicott and just challenges Jones there, and then wins by countout because John is in Albuquerque. Just little things.
Oh my god, he shows up after Jones's next fight with like the stripper, but she has a mask on.
Oh god.
This is the worst commentary ever. He just
God.
If it's gonna be a circus.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of other like
just throw in the garbage, man. Just throw it, pile it all on.
He takes a picture with the pole where Jones crashed. This is my sparring partner.
Oh boy.
It's sad that John Jones has some.
I was gonna say, but Jones took it. I was gonna say he finds the bag of weed that Jones was trying to go back and get. Hey, you this look familiar?
This is the worst.
All right, we gotta move on.
I had a really bad one, but let's move on.
Let's move on. So that's all we got for news and headlines. As always, just another wacky week of headlines. So let's get into some fights. So I'll just read some of these rising results. I'm gonna assume that not either you get a chance to catch any of this at all.
I watched the Yachi Asakura fight, the I watched Ham. I watched Ham beat the shit out of that poor woman who was like half her size, which is amazing because Ham's like 5'1". And I watched who did Oka fight?
Shintaro
Ishiwatari? Yeah, I watched that fight. But
All
that
right,
was
we
it.
saw more than I did. All I saw was Sohi beat the brakes off of that poor woman and knee her in the face. But for those who don't know what we're talking about, Ryzen had a card last night / very early this morning, Ryzen 17, which was headlined by Makura Asakura versus Yusuke Yachi. Asakura won via unanimous decision. Anton, can you give us a quick breakdown of how that fight went?
Asakura. Wait, which one? Sorry.
The Asakura Yachi fight.
Oh, Asakura beat the shit out of him for like 3 rounds. It's great. Like the end of the fight was Asakura dropping Yachi, and Yachi like landing like, well, basically like he was trying to roll through, so that like it looked like he landed on his head, and when he got up, he was too dizzy to actually walk.
Jeez.
Yeah, it was great. Big win for Asakura.
3 round slacking. Also on the main card, Shintaro Ishiwatari defeated Yoko Sasaki via North-South choke in round 2. Hiromasa Okikubo defeated Yuki Motoya via unanimous or majority decision. Ivan, I say his last name, Shridov.
Shitakarov.
There we go. Yeah, I didn't even put the K.
Wait, hold on. Did you call him Juice Man?
Juice Man.
Is that his Mega Man villain?
Juice Man.
Juice Man
defeated Hoon Kim via TKO in round 2. And then the kickboxing bout on the main card. Taiga Kawabe defeated Hikaru Machida via unanimous decision. And then I'll just quickly run through some of these prelims. Johnny Case defeated Satoru Kitaoka via TKO. Round 1, Tatsuya Kawajiri defeated Ali. Oh boy, I'm gonna. This is a doozy.
Ali, just Ali.
There you go. He defeated Ali via unanimous decision. Roberto De Souza defeated Mizuta Hirota via TKO. Jake Hoon defeated Vitaly Shematov via TKO. As we mentioned earlier, Sihu Han beat the brakes off of Tomo Meisawa and kneed her in the face. It was pretty brutal. Stephanie Edgar defeated Reina via unanimous decision, and in the other kickboxing bout, Hideki defeated Daike Watabe via majority decision. I only got the chance to see the Sohi Han fight, but I'm gonna assume it was Ryzen. It was probably fun because Ryzen cards tend to be fun. So if you didn't get a chance to watch Ryzen 17, find a way to go back and watch it. There are sites that post the fights. I won't name them on this podcast, but do your Googles. You'll find it.
I could not see it because I was signed up for this podcast and I need to go to bed. Slept for like 4 hours.
Same, yeah. I think I got a solid 4. But that was Ryzen 17, and I have to mention this boxing fight, Gervonta Davis versus Ricardo Nunes, because this took place in my home state. These two gentlemen fought about 20 minutes away from where I live. I did not go to the Royal Farms Arena because 1, traffic, because 2, traffic, because 3, I figured that crowd was probably a little rowdy. I was not going to be out there in that madness. And I knew the fight was going to end early. Figured it would, and it did. I don't think Nunes did, like, terrible. First round was kind of like a little feel-out round. And second round, it got real. Second round, Nunes got a little careless. They clinched for a second, and he was kind of just really lackadaisical, got caught with a left. Davis just jumped on him. Nunes, I think, was still kind of aware of what was going on, but the last, like, 2 hits he took where if those ropes weren't there, he probably just would have fell over. And then the ref stopped it, and kind of like we mentioned earlier with the unfortunate deaths, they were talking about it on commentary about, whether or not it was stopped too early, but considering, like, we had 2 deaths this past week, and, just, kind of weirdness in the air. you don't want to put another. We don't want any more of those stories happening anytime soon. So I guess people were like okay with the stoppage, but some people may have thought it was too early. But either way, Gervonta Davis finished the fight rather quickly, as he pretty much does in most of the fights that he wins. And after the fight, he called out Tevin Farmer. So we'll see if that happens. But Gervonta Davis laid the hands on Mr. Nunes, and that's how that went. So those were the other fights that happened this weekend. So now we can get on to the main event of the evening, UFC 240, which went down in Edmonton, in Canada, headlined by Frankie Edgar and Max Holloway. We will just jump right into it. Max Holloway defending his featherweight championship against Frankie Edgar. I'll say this fight went a little different than what I thought. I thought Holloway was gonna dog him, to be honest. Like stop him, like probably inside of maybe 4 rounds. I gotta respect Frankie's toughness. He just finds ways to hang on in fights. Dude is just he's an Iron Man. So my thought process going into this fight was like, all right, Frankie he'll make it competitive, probably about the first 2 rounds, and probably around round 3, Holloway just gonna turn it up. It's probably gonna get really ugly, and he'll probably get Frankie out of there. And that kind of sort of happened, but kind of sort of didn't. Like, I think the first 2 rounds were competitive. I think I gave them both to Holloway, but Frankie was still in the fight, just having a lot of trouble dealing with Holloway's reach and trying to get inside and like land consistently. And I knew Frankie figured he would try to mix in his takedowns because he's really good at that, with just mixing in strikes and transitioning into takedowns. But it just seemed like Holloway had such a physical advantage that Frankie couldn't he couldn't get any of those takedowns turned into anything significant. Really couldn't really just execute any of them, and was having a lot of trouble just dealing with distance and range. And it was kind of roundabout, like that 3rd round where it seemed like Max was starting to settle in. I was like, all right, he's about to dust Frankie and get him out of here. He did catch Frankie with a lot of good shots. Boy, was that uppercut money. He landed that uppercut a number of times. I think Frankie just, I don't know, that size difference was just, I think, a lot to deal with. Like, he landed some good shots. He would land some decent combinations. I like the leg kicks. But he was just, it seemed like such a strength disadvantage. Like, he could not get his takedowns going. And then when Holloway, like, started to get confident, tagged him up, busted his nose up. Like I said, that uppercut landed flush a number of times. I can't remember what round, but he rocked Frankie a couple of times in this fight. Memory's a little scattered because I didn't actually rewatch this one, so I'm kind of just going off my one fight take memory. But kind of Max just doing what Max does, just really great at controlling distance. Like I said, I did think that I thought that Max would tag him up a little more consistently, but Frankie's always, even at 37, still really nifty, still really crafty, still like really good footwork. So sometimes he's not the easiest to hit and get a hold of, but just when Max was able to get a hold of him and hit him, like he punished him. And that just kind of went on for 5 rounds, and yeah, Max did what Max does. Just didn't get a finish. That's pretty much how I saw that fight.
Something about Max seems kind of off to me, and I say this as somebody who scored the fight. Like, I think I had it 5-0, but I might have 4-1. But like, he did throw more than Edgar, but like it never felt like he really wanted to push the pace, to the level that we've seen him do in the past. Like, I don't know if this is because I was thinking about it. It's just like, okay. Hold up. Aldo was a matchup that called for Holloway to really just push as hard as he possibly could with the pace because Aldo is a sprint fighter, so you're able to tire him out quicker. And Brian Ortega, that's a whole other. That's a dude who's just not comfortable striking yet. He's very dangerous, but if he can't knock you out, he's there to be hit. So maybe this is him going back to like how he fought against the Lamases and Jeremy Stevens of the division, where he wasn't he was putting on one-sided fights, but he wasn't exactly putting everybody away. But like I'm a little worried that the damage might be catching up to him after that Poirier fight, because that fight was when, like April, yeah, like that was 3 months ago, and then he immediately hops back into camp to get ready to fight Edgar, and now he's about to immediately hop back into camp to fight Volk. Like, I'm a little worried on that end. But as for this performance, it was fine. Like, which is saying a lot because Edgar is one hell of a fucking fighter, and to win that wide of a decision on him is not easy. No matter what Joe Rogan was saying, because he really was pushing that Edgar was about to win this fight in the 5th.
We'll get to him. We'll get to him.
Terrible fucking night from Rogan. God. As for Edgar, I think he did better than I thought he would. I honestly thought he was going to be. Someone on the Heavy Hands podcast pointed this out, and I didn't really realize it until like seeing the stare down between Edgar and Holloway. Despite always being the smaller dude, like who has Edgar ever fought that was like 5'10", 5'11"? Like Yair.
What was Bendo?
And those like 5.
Yeah, I don't think he's like
5'9".
yeah, he's like 5'9".
With or without the hair? 5'9".
Yeah, like it was and then Brian Ortega, who caught him as he was trying to close distance. So I was expecting something along those lines, like Edgar would try to close distance, walk onto a jab, and then get followed up with the 2 or an uppercut. And he did a couple times, but he did not go down. So props to him for that. Not a whole lot of wrestling. The only takedown he managed to get was a desperation takedown in the 3rd when Holloway was beating on him to close out the round, and then in like the last 30-40 seconds, Max overcommitted and Frankie was able to get him down. But not like he was doing some things. He was landing the right hand, never like sitting down on it, but like landing that quick one so that he'd be able to touch Holloway before Holloway had a chance to counter. I think this is some of the best like his actual footwork has been, because like Frankie used to get like a lot of credit for like circling around the outside and then coming in on straight lines, but like I think he was angling a little bit better here than we've seen him in the past. But it just wasn't enough. Like the reach disparity, the output, the power, for sure. Because by the end of it, he looked like he had been through a beating. So props to Holloway. I hope they find another co-main event for that 243 card or whatever number it is, the Adesanya Whitaker co-main event, because I'd like to see him get a couple months off.
Which is interesting because both Dana and Holloway spoke like it was possible, but maybe not likely. Kind of piggybacking off of what we started with 2 hours ago or whatever. Max Holloway was very honest in the post-fight presser about how those 2 fights might have impacted him, how those 2 deaths might have impacted him. because he spoke a little bit about maybe slowing things down a little bit, and he had a son with him, and obviously when you're a father, it's completely different, a completely different mindset. So we've all been kicking around theories about Max Holloway, why he was a little bit more reserved, cautious, didn't even taunt as much as he normally does. Like, this was a very low-key, quiet performance. And I thought it was because he was saving himself up to fight Volk. And the concern, the pessimistic view would be that he's just shop-worn and in the process of adapting to being shop-worn. But I wonder if it may have just been the fact that, he's fighting a week after 2 people died. And he spoke openly about the fact that, about wanting more medical testing to make sure that everything is okay before he commits to another fight. And Dana was talking like he might maybe want a little bit of time off. So it's going to be interesting. I still think he was conserving himself simply because he didn't want to get caught with anything reckless. But maybe it was the fact that, hey, you just saw what the worst case scenario is.
Right.
And the worst case scenario is ugly. And maybe it impacted Father Max Holloway different than it would have impacted another guy. And apparently somebody at the press conference asked him, like, relative to Connor's quote about how only fighters can understand that risk and about having to make that walk after a tragedy. And Max was like, it's true, like, there is a different mentality after a fight like that. So I'm on the fence. I still think Max is going to be fine, but I definitely do think he was off. Sluggish was a good term that you used. I think that that's totally accurate. But it's amazing how he's hit the Aldo level where it's like, yeah, he wasn't really trying that hard, but he still won 50-45.
Right.
So it's interesting that we've gotten Max to that point.
Yeah.
As for the Volk fight in October, I'm so on the fence about that. Like, I'd like to see it maybe a little later in the year. They're coming to Toronto at the end of the year. Holloway's like the biggest Canadian, the adopted Canadian hero now. So I'd like to see that maybe in December. But at the same time, probably no one fight will guarantee Holloway the payday that the co-main event of a sold-out stadium show would. And so I'm going to guess that by early September, he'll probably agree to that fight. Unless he's hurt. Which, whenever somebody starts talking about additional medicals, you assume there might be an injury.
Well, also, like, there's a dude who we were having serious concerns about where he was at with his concussion.
Yeah, and the weight cut's not easy. They moved him to 155 because they were seriously concerned about his weight cut.
Right.
So.
And then now no, go ahead.
I think it's all kind of like ties in together. Like the cumulative damage taken in the Poirier fight. Then you see 2 people die this week. And now you're probably looking back at like the damage you've taken, like, man, like,
Right.
that could have been me, or like you probably pumped the brakes a little bit. Like, all right, man, maybe I am going too hard. And maybe that's why, like I said, because that was the one thing about this fight that I was surprised that he didn't. I thought he was really going to put Frankie away. And I mean, like, there were moments where he went for it, but he didn't really try to force anything. To me, it seemed, I didn't really get that he was off. Just more so like, you know what? I'm not going to go out here and do anything too crazy and take any more damage than what I need to. So as long as this fight is working in my favor, I'm just going to kind of keep it at the pace it's at. And I'm going to get out here and not take as much damage as possible. And then, like I said, like, dude's been in some wars, fighting pretty frequently. Definitely has like a lot of wear and tear on his body. I think he just took an opportunity to just kind of slow it down. And
no, go ahead. No,
I was going to try to say, wow, because we're saying he's slowing it down, but he still won. Like,
no,
he still won a lopsided fight. So I think if he takes this Volkanovski fight early, regardless of how that fight will turn out, I think no matter when he takes that Volkanovski fight, afterwards we probably won't see him for a while, and rightfully so. Like, dude should probably take a break. Like it seemed like he's been through a lot. Like he's been successful, but just in terms of like health and damage and watching other fighters pass, it's like that's a lot to happen within like a 5-6 month span. So it might be best for him to just kind of I gotta chill out for a little bit.
And his the first part I was gonna bring up was like we're talking about him like he treated a Hall of Famer like a sparring contest. Like he literally like he fought Edgar like he was getting rounds in.
Right.
Like no intensity. So it's weird. And also like I don't know if this will factor into anything with the UFC's decision making or I truly think that Dana and Holloway have like a friendship. Because Max's son sits with Dana during the events. And so I wonder if they're like be cautious with people who he likes, he took. So I wonder if better judgment would reign in terms of like, hey, we need this October co-main event versus, hey, we need to keep Max. We need to make sure we have Max Holloway into his 30s because Max is only 27. And speaking to like how often he fights, I wonder how much of that was like, yeah, only 27 and like 5 overall in the UFC's like win total. So he's carved a path really quickly, and so I understand maybe slowing it down.
I mean, this was his 21st UFC fight.
Yeah,
that's
he's
crazy.
got 17 wins.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Among them Aldo, Ortega, Lamas, Steven, Swanson, Edgar, so on and so forth. I wonder if they take it slow with him, and I also do wonder if like the first week of ticket sales are going to determine what happens. Because if they're slow, I think they will push it. But if you get like one of those Australia quickie sellouts, like house is paid for. Like why get crazy?
Right.
So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see. And Holloway missed so much of 2018 that I wonder if he felt like he needed to be super active in 2019. He says he still wants to fight sometime this year. So we're gonna see him again. I just don't know when.
Also worth noting out, this was his 3rd fight in like 8 months.
Yeah, dude is like he was always a super active fighter, but then 2018 he got hurt in March. He couldn't make weight in April, and then that crazy concussion situation in July. So I wonder if he was trying to make good on it.
Right, and last bit, like this was his 3rd title defense, like overall.
Yeah.
And we've seen guys like the longer they hold on to the title, they start realizing, hey, this is my livelihood here.
Yeah.
And they start to maybe not slow it down, but they or fight more protectively, but they don't take the same risk they used to. It's all about protecting your spot.
Right. And I'd have to believe that the risk equals the challenge. And I do wonder, with all due respect, if by like the end of the first round he was kind of like, this guy doesn't have anything for me, so I'm not gonna take a chance.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of how I felt. Like you don't need to do anything reckless. Nothing calls for it. Like as long as I'm not giving up rounds, I'm pretty comfortable just doing what I'm doing. It seems to be working.
Yeah, this was strong Aldo Edgar vibes. Except Holloway throws like a little bit of both.
I'll say the second.
Well, the second fight is the greatest Aldo performance maybe ever.
Yeah.
So speaking of Edgar,
mm-hmm.
What do we do with him? Because apparently he wants to continue, but Dana was like, maybe you kind of don't have anything else. Like there's nothing left for you to do.
Yeah, Frankie's in that weird spot where it's like, obviously, I think he can still fight at a pretty high level. I just don't know if he's going to be a champion. So it's like, at this point, if you just stick around, it's kind of just you. Like, you got to do like your Pettis run, where you just kind of just do fights that you want to do. Like, these just random fun fights. Like,
right.
Oh, this is one guy who I've always wanted to fight, but for some reason we never crossed paths. So let's do it. Like,
I got a fight in mind, but I want to see if Anakel has a good idea.
Cowboy?
What, you want to get him killed? I thought Frankie was one.
Oh God, are you gonna say do Frankie and
We're from the same state.
You
No,
gonna say-
I got one.
No, I mean like what the hell do you do with him? That's the thing with these like lighter weight divisions. Like they don't. The fuck was that?
Give me Uriah. Let the
Ghost.
two old guys duke it out.
Yeah, but he already beat Uriah.
Oh yeah, he did fight Uriah.
He already beat Uriah, and Uriah's gonna fight Henry Cejudo probably at some point. So he's
There we go. He can fight Henry Cejudo too.
We gotta move on now.
With the
You guys
Cejudo
are
gimmick
speaking
beef.
blasphemy.
But like these lighter weight, these guys don't hang around like they do at like 185 and 205 and even the welterweight. Like once they start to lose, they start to plummet real quick.
Which makes Edgar's longevity amazing. Because he was the lightweight champion in 2011. He's pretty much outlasted every counterpart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what about this one then? Well, the most obvious one is Korean Zombie in Korea. I think that would be the safe. Well, he can't do Zabit. They train together.
Right.
So it's Zombie or like Josh Emmett, maybe. But what about Cruz?
I'd be down with it.
I'm down for Cruz if Cruz can walk or like I don't what's he injured? I don't know. I say that I don't mean to be mean, but like is he? Didn't he injured something, right? I don't think it was a leg though. Didn't he break something?
He's got a hand
broke
injury
it.
now.
It's always just it's a different part of the body every month for Cruz. So like,
I mean,
Or shoulder injury.
I'm down for that fight. I'm definitely down for that. I think that would be.
Well, because remember, Cejudo called out Cruz, and Cruz was like, "Yeah, I'll take that fight, but I'm hurt again." So
I don't know. We'll
I just feel bad for Frankie. I feel like he was underappreciated in his prime, and now he's like super relevant out of his prime, and he still seems underappreciated. Man without a weight class.
yeah. It's
like I don't want to see like I joke about wanting to see him fight Cejudo, but like at this point, I don't want to see him cut the extra 10 pounds.
Edgar Pettis.
I don't think Pettis wants to make 155 anymore. To be honest with you.
Frankie can just eat a lot of pasta. They can meet at 165.
hey.
Dad bod Edgar against.
Like I said, I think at this point Frankie just needs to do. If there's anybody you just ever wanted to fight that you haven't gotten a chance to prep with yet, just make those fights happen. Just go out like that. Just give us some fun fights, and I don't think there's any shame in that.
In Brazil against anybody. It'll be a big deal. Edgar's a little bit more like just sticking around now.
I don't know. Well,
Do you want Yair to get his win back?
Do you think Yair could get his win back?
Good point. I don't want to see Ortega. Damn, Artem Lobov, he's on a win streak in the bare knuckle fight league. He
all right,
come over.
now it's time to move on.
I'm trying to find something for a genuine Hall of Famer to do.
It's time to move on now. Artem Lobov has made his way here.
He can fight Ryan Hall.
Gil?
Ew, Ryan.
That's
Hall.
an interesting.
Ew. Not mad at it.
Wow.
I'm not mad at that. That's so
Uh,
weird.
Because like you want to give him someone who's kind of good, but like not. You don't want to give him anybody who's gonna derail for a title shot.
And you know they don't like Ryan Hall.
Who's they? Because I'd have to imagine Dana has no idea who Ryan Hall is.
They is Dana. Because anytime he's spoken about Ryan Hall, it's very dismissive. Or he's just outright calling him a bad fighter and saying he should have lost tough.
Well, he did lose on Tough, and then it was like, oh wait, Saul Rogers has like he lied about this.
He lied about being able to come to the United States.
It was somehow still in the United States.
Yep.
Lord.
You can fight.
No. We're moving on now.
That's the only way he's gonna learn.
No, we're moving on. Co-main event. There'll be no more BJ talk. Co-main event. Chris Cyborg versus Felicia Spencer. God, where do I start? Do I start with Rogan? No. You know what? Let me talk about the fight first. Got to give props where props is due first. Start off on a good foot. I like what I got out of both of them. For Felicia, obviously you lost, 30-27 across the board, but one of those like rare instances where like you lose the fight, but I feel like your stock still kind of goes up because you just did a lot better than people thought you would. Um, Boy, can she take a shot. Um, she ate a lot. Like I don't know what the statistics were, but she ate a lot of hard shots and just kind of. She never this entire fight. Maybe out. I think there was one round where she caught a flurry at the end, but like there were never as much as she ate. She never looked rattled. Her confidence never looked like it was dwindling. Like it seemed like all 3 rounds she still had the mentality like I'm gonna find a way to try to win this. And I mean she gave it her all. Like she tried to work her grappling. She was trying her heart out, and it just I feel like I guess anybody else she probably would have managed to get them down, but Cyborg is Cyborg, and I think Cyborg's grappling is kind of an underrated part of her game because we're just used to seeing her just kind of murder people.
I mean, she used to compete all the time at Worlds. Like she wasn't in the black belt division or anything, but she was like that's something she trains.
Yeah,
Cyborg?
like,
Yeah.
it's just a part of her
like,
game that
the
like
idea that like anybody can take Cyborg down.
right, yeah, it's kind of like yeah.
The
Well,
idea that like if you take her down,
what's her name got her down? The girl in Invicta who got knocked out like 2 seconds before the end of the first round. Daria Daria Russian last name.
higher Russian. Last.
That's
Didn't Yana Kunitskaya get her down and take her back briefly?
yeah. Like that's the thing with Cyborg. Like she is surprisingly, I'm not gonna say easy, but like susceptible to being pushed into the fence for long periods of time. And
Yeah.
Spencer was able to do that for a little bit, but like Cyborg was able to land in the clinch while she was there.
Yeah, just and I like from Cyborg. I think this is the most I've seen her kind of mix up her offense. Like I haven't seen her use leg kicks this much. Like I felt like she really. I don't know. I feel like I watched a different fight than what other people. Well, I don't say other people. Probably just Rogan.
Same but different.
Because to me, it almost feels like we punish Cyborg. Like if she doesn't go out and obliterate somebody, then it just means like something's wrong. To me, I saw just like, all right, in my last fight against Nunez, I came out, guns blazing. I got caught up in the moment. I got my head knocked off. So I'm going to come back. Let me not do that again. Let me try not to get caught in too many brawling situations. I thought she just fought a much smarter and like just kind of more methodical fight. Like I thought she really slowed it down. She got off. I mean, she definitely got off shots. She landed a bunch. But she mixed it up with the leg kicks really good. I didn't feel like she was really trying to like force anything. And like I said, when Spencer was able to clinch her and get her up against the fence, she did spend a lot of time there. But eventually, she would like reverse position. I love the knees that she was landing in the clinch. She was effective pretty much everywhere she went. And it just seemed like to me, since she was being more methodical, people took that, especially Rogan. Like somehow, apparently, after the first round, according to Rogan, she was just completely gassed out and she was gonna die after the first round. Like, oh my God, she's breathing on the stool. Okay.
You got to make the drama where there is none.
Like he was really, and as much as I was impressed with Spencer, like man, she's still hanging in this fight. But it's like, all right, guys, let's not oversell this. Like Rogan was making it seem like, oh my God, Cyborg, she's about to run out of breath, and Felicia's gonna take. It was like anytime Felicia did anything of even like minor significance, like Rogan just tried to like blow it up and then make it seem like, oh, Cyborg's slowing down and the tide's gonna turn, it's about to be over, the world's crashing. It's like, nah, bro, she's still winning this fight like fairly handedly. Like I don't know what fight y'all were watching, but Cyborg tagged her up, landed a lot of good leg kicks, did really good in the clinch. And what Felicia wanted to do, she couldn't do. Like, she wanted to take her down. She wanted to put her in that kind of situation, and it never happened. And you would know if you watch, I think you can tell about this matchup. Like, if Felicia couldn't get a takedown, she wasn't going to win this fight. Like,
Basically.
Yeah, the best, if the best part I can say, and I don't want to make it seem like I'm dogging Felicia, but like if the best part I can say about your performance against Cyborg of all people is that you can take a punch, that's a clue that you're not winning the fight. Like, it's just you're kind of surviving, which that's something, because boy, she just ate a lot of shots, and that's probably one of the most gutsiest performances I've seen in a while. But you clearly still lost that fight, so. I don't know. The commentary really kind of took away from me just kind of enjoying what I was watching. It was like, come on, man. Like, y'all are just stop. Like, that commentary was gross. To me, it was. But props to Cyborg. Just love how she mixed it up. And props to Felicia Spencer. One of those fights where you lost, but no shame, and your stock probably just went way up, because that's you can't teach that kind of toughness. You kind of just either got that or you don't. And
4th woman to ever go to decision with Cyborg.
Yeah. And as wild as that seems, that's a moral victory. Like, that's something. But I enjoyed the fight, but the commentary was kind of interesting.
Yeah. I honestly don't have a lot to say that you didn't already cover. Just
Yeah, it was pretty
Cyborg.
thorough.
Yeah, like I was going to rip into to Rogan, but he already did that for me.
There'll be ample opportunities.
Yeah, like this just seems like Cyborg lost her first fight in like how many years? 15,
13, I think.
13 years. She got knocked out like 40 seconds in. This was like 7 months ago. So she just came back out, tried not to get, and just fought a safe-ish fight and route to a unanimous decision victory. And it just so happens Felicia Spencer was the right stylistic matchup and the right amount of toughness to make it through to the decision. Because, like, there were points in that fight where, like, if Cyborg turns this up just a little bit, she probably puts Spencer away. But it felt like she really just wanted to go out there and get a win and rebuild her confidence before she tests the free agent market and goes to fight for Bellator, because that's what's going to happen. So
Yeah, basically.
I want to dogpile on like Spencer, but I also don't want to be like, oh, she did such a great job, because like she did get beat up for like 95% of this fight. And don't get she landed that great like jumping stand-in elbow that cut Cyborg open the first round, and which is why I think we got that whole Rogan Cyborg's falling apart narrative in the first place. But there was not a lot of give and take so much as a lot of take from Spencer's end. So, Joe, I know you have some thoughts.
Oh, yeah, I guess so. I want to find the right way to go about this. I don't think I watched. Like, you guys hear me?
Now we can.
Okay.
Oh, perfect. All right. Like, I don't think I watched the same fight anybody else watched. Like, I saw a lot of people saying it was like a great fight, and it kind of wasn't for me. And I think it may have just been the fact that I guess I was just uncomfortable lauding toughness, after what had happened earlier in the week, like I said earlier.
Right.
But I definitely was not watching the Rogan fight. I don't know what he was seeing.
I don't think Rogan was watching the fight, to be honest with you.
He was halfway through the side of being like a championship fight. He was talking about this fight like it was a championship fight, which is amazing because he's like, somebody must have corrected him at some point.
Oh no, he thought it was because there was at one point where I think he literally said like, "Oh, she has to do this for 2 more rounds."
Yeah, like he was out of control. But Cyborg just looked like a toned down version of Cyborg. She didn't look. She looked a little slower to me, but not super slow. She looked a little bit safer. She carried Felicia. I think she carried Felicia a touch, perhaps. And that's it, man. Like, she's not going to be here. So, Cyborg's not going to be around after this, I think. She's going to be in Bellator fighting Julia Budd.
There you go.
So, unless Amanda Nunes absolutely forces the issue. Unless she's like, listen, I won't fight unless it's her. Then they'll do something.
I could see it. I could see that if only because like she's already talked about retirement and like Amanda Nunes, Chris Cyborg, probably the biggest fight she can get at the moment.
I think what.
Well, did you hear about the retirement story?
What happened?
Nunes, like, somebody brought up, like, hey, you talking about retirement? And she was like, no, I was just really drunk. She was really drunk and she didn't have Nina Ansaroff with her to like clarify everything.
I think what needs to happen, we need to do Cyborg Nunes rematch. In the meantime, Julia Budd can fight Gabby Garcia. And
No.
Then,
Absolutely not.
Yes.
Yes. And then we'll let everything sort out from there. You know. Let life happen after that.
Felicia Spencer, good upside, I think, but they're going to have to matchmake her carefully.
And it's going to be really hard because they have like 4 fighters in this division.
Yeah, just start signing ladies.
Yeah. That's what I said, but they don't listen.
Yeah, we said that. Like
Well, I think what happened was I heard that like they did sign 2 featherweights, and then they were like, yeah, we're going to fight at 135 now. Because we had discussed it.
Yeah, we did. It was the Bea Malecki and what's her face?
Bea Malecki, right? Whatever. Yeah, yeah.
And Duda Santana, that's what it was.
Yeah, they signed them, and then they're like, we'll do it at bantamweight.
And this is what happens when you build one division around one fighter who nobody wants to fight because she's scary as shit.
It's a rude way to talk about Amanda Nunes.
Well, her too.
No,
that's gotta suck. Like, you spend the whole division like, man, I do not want to fight Cyborg. And then she loses the belt, and it's like, oh god, Amanda's the next option. Like, it doesn't get any easier. It's not getting any easier.
This division on paper, like, I think this division on paper died, quote unquote, when Megan Anderson lost twice.
Yeah.
Because they were clearly building for her to be like the something.
Yeah. We'll see.
She was abnormally popular for like an Aussie fighter fighting in Invicta.
Well, I think that was also the case with
Hello?
yeah, like I'm having all kinds of audio issues.
I'm assuming you were going to say Aldana and Grasso.
No, I said that like that was the case with Beck Rollins. Like she got really popular in Invicta first.
Right,
Another weird, not weird, but different kind of person, Aussie. A strange Aussie.
We'll see. Just appreciate featherweight while you can. It might not. I don't know. Who knows? We talk about flyweight night existing, but featherweight is. I don't know. It doesn't even seem like a real division. I forget it exists until I see a fight. It's like, oh yeah, that is a thing. That happens.
It's the most tepid, like toe in the water division they've ever had.
Well, either way, Chris Cyborg won a unanimous decision across the board. Laid some hands and feet on Felicia, so congrats to her, and we'll see what happens with her next. This next fight, which is probably the fight I was most looking forward to on this card, Jeff Neal versus Nico Price. I was ready for violence. I got some violence, so I was happy. I like what I saw from Neal a lot, man. Is this like the first time he's ever went for a takedown? Because I don't remember Neal ever going for takedowns.
I want to say he went for takedown versus what's his face? Was it Griffin or Camacho?
Had it been Griffin, I feel like Camacho. They just a lot of hands.
I can't
Or
remember.
maybe not the first time him going for one, but him like landing one.
I'm gonna look this up.
I could be wrong. I just don't remember him going for a lot of takedowns. But I enjoyed what I took away from this fight is that Neil is improving. Like it seems like his game is rounding out a bit more. Boy, he has some really fast hand speed. Like he let off a combo on Nico. He hit him with like a 3-piece, and it happened in like 0.3 seconds. But Nico being Nico, like started firing back because he's a wild man. Got Neil to back up off him. They had a nice, just little fun brawling moment. But nah, man, Neil's really good, man. Just really fast hand speed, physically strong, pretty athletic, and like I said, it's good to see him like be starting to implement, grappling and wrestling more into his game. And boy, oh boy, though that ground and pound he landed, like his coaches are yelling like, you need to pass, and he's like, nah, I don't really need to pass. Like, just gonna kind of posture up where I'm at, and I'm just gonna drop these bombs on Nico. And it's like he generates so much force from just that little bit of space that he had. He hits like his ground and pound is like really abusive. Like
It looked like he was just straight up like on his feet throwing punches.
right. Like it was every time Nico got hit, I like cringed a little like, oh, that looks painful. Yeah, I mean Nico, wild man, had some moments, but Neil's just he's that dude, man. He's pretty good. Like I said, that ground and pound, boy, that was ferocious. That was some nasty ground and pound. So Neil got that finish in the second round. Good fight, man. I got the violence that I wanted. I thought it would be a little more chaotic because I didn't expect Neil to like push for takedowns that much. But when he did, I like seeing it because it's not like he didn't just push for takedowns and just try to like hold them there. Like he was going for the kill, and he got it. So congrats to Jeff Neal, continuing to get better. But violent weight, I'm all for it. I'm always down for Jeff Neal or Nico Price fight. But congrats to Jeff Neal, man. I thought he looked really, really good.
Nico Price is literally just a fucking heavyweight. Like he comes with all the strengths and weaknesses of a heavyweight, and it's really funny. Hold up. All right, Joey, you go for a second. Well, I fix this. Sorry.
Sure. Assuming I don't cut out, then we'll all be good. Wait. Can you guys hear me?
No, I can hear you.
Okay. Jesus Christ. I don't know what's going on here.
All right, I'm back.
Oh, perfect. He comes back as soon as I come back.
Yes.
So.
No, I can still hear you. I just muted my mic because.
Oh no! Like I'm going like deaf here. So you want to go first now?
No, you can go.
All right. So Jeff Neal's ground and pound, like we joke. It's funny. Anti Cole said that Nico Price is a heavyweight. That was like an old school fight. Because there are certain things in old school MMA we make fun of, like middleweights. They're slow and clunky and they clinch against the fence and just being a total weird fight. Jeff Neal's ground and pound was so old school. That was like UFC 2006 style ground and pound, where every single shot was full force and landing because Nico Price's guard was so loose. so he could posture up whenever he felt like it and just beat the shit out of him. A very old school style Matt Hughes ground and pound.
I love it.
Reminded me of Robbie Lawler, Poison Weapon. Go ahead.
No, I'm just laughing at Nico Price in general.
I mean, it was great because like Nico Price can only win in one range, and Jeff Neal was like I'm just gonna fight you in that range. Like, I'll get as close as possible so you can wing at me. And he took some straight shots that I was stunned he stood up on. But Nico Price, Jeff Neal. I was gonna say his composure and his patience reminded me of a little bit when Jeff Neal was blitzing, when Nico Price was blitzing him. Which, to his credit, he would survive and get those takedowns. But I need to see him maybe be a little bit more composed when he's got fire coming his way. Good on Fortis MMA. I think it's Saif Saud for telling Jeff Neal, like, look, like, this guy's got no power. Like, he's weak. You could take him down. And then just apparently that was going to be the game plan. And Jeff Neal, man, that's... And I want to see how quickly they start moving him up the ranks in terms of bigger names. But a good performance with some weakness here or there. Definitely needs to get a little calmer. I think the knockdown was mostly the headbutt. They both knocked each other down, which is amazing. That was the greatest moment in MMA history.
Well, if that would have been a double KO, I would have lost it.
I thought for sure it was a double KO because of the way Neal fell. Because two things. If you fall face forward the way that Nico Price does, they normally stop it no matter what happens. His head almost bounced off the can. So yeah, man, this was a good fight. Thank God we had a good fight after what had came before it. And
Yeah.
I'm excited for more Jeff Neal. I'm excited for more Nico Price too because he's gonna be back. But I want to float a Jeff Neal matchup after Anti-Cool says his bid.
I don't really got much to add in terms of just like technical stuff. It's just
This was I guess an IQ test for Neil. Like, if you were to have me have to pick between Nico Price and a rematch with Tim Means, I'd pick Tim Means. You know what I mean? Like, same thing with like Randy Brown. Like, I'm not sure Nico Price is getting any better, but he hits so freaking hard from every position imaginable that he's always like a live dog. So this was a test to see if Neil could navigate that power, not end up in a spot where he gets knocked out, and come away with the win. And he, for the most part, he did it. He got hurt twice. The headbutt, the double headbutt knockout or knockdown in the first round, and then Nico Price just decided to blitz, and he came forward and hit him with like a spinning back forearm in the second round. That turned Neil into like a panic wrestler for a quick second. I don't think it hurt him so much as it just surprised him. But yeah, it was a good performance from Neil.
Like looping hook combination.
Yes, exactly. Some primo just I don't know what I'm doing anymore type shit.
Button mashing,
exactly. And Neil managed it pretty well. He found the area where he was gonna win the fight, got him down, beat the ever living tar out of him, and got the win. So props to Neil. Still looks great. Still looks like an exciting welterweight prospect, which we desperately need right now. Just because we don't need another top heavy grappler dude who's going to push dudes into the fence for 25 minutes. We got like 4 of those.
That would suck if like all this grappling work and that's what he becomes.
He's like, oh, Leon Edwards did it, so I'm gonna do it too.
Right. But Jeff Neal, man, yeah, he's fun to watch. What's the before we move on? What was the matchup you wanted to float out?
Was that for me?
Yeah, you said you had a matchup you wanted to throw out.
Oh yeah. No, Anna-Cole actually mentioned it. Matt Brown.
Is he still around?
Is he still fighting? I thought
He lives.
he lives.
He's immortal. Of course he lives.
Actually, that's a great point. That's a great point.
I thought he like
He tore his ACL, but that's not gonna stop him.
I'm not mad at that though. If he's still around, I just assumed he just kind of wasn't around anymore. It's more weird. Like if I don't hear your name in like a year, I assume you're retired.
Or arrested.
Right. Something bad happened to you, or you just decided to hang it up. But
So
no, I'm not mad at that though.
What about RDA? How quickly do you think RDA's phone rang when that fight ended?
I mean, if I'm RDA, I'm fucking jumping for joy because goddamn, it's not another wrestler.
No, now Neil's about to evolve like a Pokemon. Now he's gonna wrestle.
I would be so mad at Jeff Neal if he fought RDA and spam like 5 takedowns in a row. I would be so.
It's a rite of passage.
Oh man, you know what? Any Jeff Neal matchup, I'm fine with.
Randy Brown would be interesting, but he just beat the guy who beat Randy Brown.
I don't know. We'll see. Whatever it is, it's gonna be fun. I'm here for it. So congrats to Jeff Neal. All right. So this is like the part of the card where I'm just gonna float this out there. Like some fights just don't really. We don't have to do deep dives when there's nothing to dive into. It's a pretty shallow pool. I'm just throwing that out there. So like these next couple fights, man, I don't really got a lot to say. Armin Sarukian versus Olivier Aubin-Mercier. All I can really say about this fight is Mercier did well on the feet when it stayed on the feet. He seemed to have a clear advantage there, but Sarukian just a lot of wrestling. Wrestling, pushed against the cage, takedowns. He was able to be that. What's the term I want to use? They don't use it in MMA. If like time of possession was a thing in MMA, and there probably is like a term for it, I just don't know what it is.
Isn't it like control?
There you go. I'm done.
Something like that.
That's the perfect word. He was able to control and be more dominant for longer times with his wrestling than Mercier was able to be on the feet. That's kind of all I got for that fight.
I didn't watch it. I fell asleep.
Well, shit. Well, shit. Well, shit.
What you got for us, Joey?
Two guys snuggle bunnied against the cage for a little bit, and that was it.
There you go.
That was it.
You just summarized the first two fights on this card, Joey.
They really well, a little. There's first off, there's nothing wrong with there's nothing wrong with doing what you got to win, but never again on a pay-per-view, and never again.
Yeah, on a pay-per-view and starting off the card, and
have to go out of my way
back to back.
Yeah.
Ugh, yeah. Not.
And like, the lesson to be learned here is that just because it's Canada, it doesn't mean we need to have a Canadian main card.
Yeah.
Because the only reason those two guys were on the main card was because they're Canadian. OAM, and we're going to talk about the other guy in a minute.
So that was that fight. Sarukian won via unanimous decision. And the next fight, which rounded out the main card, Christoph Jocko versus Marc-Andre Baralt. That's how you say his name? I don't remember this fight much other than... I don't remember Mark doing anything other than pushing Jocko against the cage. And Jocko didn't do a lot, but he at least inflicted damage. And I feel like he landed a couple elbows. But not a very eventful... Not the kind of fight you want to start your card off with. I'll say that much. It was just kind of one of those fights. Like it was something. Stuff happened.
No, it was not something. It was nothing.
I don't know what to tell you. Other than Jocko won. This was a split decision. Who cares? Who cares?
Yeah, it was the opposite of a something.
Jocko got a win. That's all that happened.
I want to hear Anti-Cool break this down. Go ahead.
He's lost for words. Be fun.
The two of the three Canadians on this fucking main card were coming off of losses. And that really makes me upset. Like OAM and Mark Andre Barrioltz, were both coming off of losses. Why were they on this card, on this main card, of like Hakeem Dawadu or like even Gavin Tucker?
Well, he was also coming off a loss.
But Gavin Tucker's fun
Are we sure?
when he wants to be. When he's
I didn't
not,
have much fun during that fight.
then Davis and Figueiredo, Alexander Pantoja. Like,
Should have
come on.
definitely. Yeah, that's
Well,
definitely on the main
I
card.
agree. Barriolt's been on the main card twice now in both of his UFC.
Like, is he like popular in Canada?
They think he's a thing.
Well, he's definitely not.
They're wrong.
I remember I watched him fight on the regionals day. I was like, okay, he's a competent dude. I'm sure he can make a fine life for himself at middleweight, but he's not. He is no Paulo Costa.
I think they think he's a thing in Canada.
Then they need to fire whoever's their Canada guy.
I'm just saying he's been on the main card twice.
I know, but like, what? That's stupid.
Go
I
find
just-
another thing.
I just love how Jocko.
Everything about this fight was bad, including their
Barriol
names
just kept
because I
barreling
can't
into him
pronounce
against
them.
the fence.
Yes, it's just like he did okay in the clinch for a little bit, and then he would get turned Barriol, and then he would get turned around by Jocko.
That's the only place Jocko can win that fight. And he would Barriol would just crash in as hard as possible. And Jocko would tie him up like arms around the waist like a lover coming back from their lover just came back from war. That kind of just like full on arms around because he knew he can't win against the fence. So moving on, gentlemen.
Yeah, we can move on. But Jocko won, split decision. That rounds out the main card.
What a main card.
Yeah.
That's two freaking cards.
Yeah.
Really is. Highest of highs and lowest of lows.
Definitely.
Best of times, worst of times.
This was like last week's card, but like a little more. This was like 1.5 version of last week's card. I don't know what that says, but it wasn't terrible, but it was just like you said, the highs were high, but the lows were like, all right, guys.
I mean, in all fairness, there were only like those were the only two what I'd call bad fights on the card.
I think it's because they were back to back, and it was like, oh.
But to follow up on Sensei's point, have you noticed that these back-to-back, bad fights happen back-to-back all the time on UFC?
Oh yeah, because they book like 5 of them in a row, and then like
See,
we luck out. We luck out when like one of them gets stopped.
Yeah. Which this card would have been.
Did you guys happen to hear what I said or no?
I heard it in like 2 separate things.
Basically, the UFC's on a stretch now where the bad fights seem to always happen back-to-back.
Yeah, and it would have been bearable if it'd have been a bad fight, but somebody got stopped in the second. But life doesn't work out that way sometimes.
Because last.
Oh, I missed all of that.
I heard last.
Oh, because
Right.
dude, I don't know
Right.
what's going. To explain. Hold on.
How about now? You sound like you're in a chamber.
I'm in Stokes' chamber.
That's like, yeah.
I said last week we got Alvi Modafferi back-to-back.
How dare you? Sam Alvey and Roxanne
No.
Modafferi
All right,
are
come on.
fan favorites. They are fan favorites.
All right, yeah. When we cape for Sam Alvey, it's time to move on.
All right, fine.
Yeah. Moving on to the prelims. It kind of like some of these other fights. Some of these I don't really have a ton to say or want to spend a lot of time on, but I felt bad because this fight, Vivian Araut. Oh, go ahead. We talked about this in the pre-recording, and
I'm gonna go with Araujo. I know it's wrong, but that's how I see it.
Gonna go with Araujo. No, you're Vivian versus Alexis Davis.
Viv.
I feel bad because I watched this fight, but I didn't rewatch it, and I don't remember this in a ton of detail. All I remember is like Vivian busted Alexis's face up, and I remember her sticking and moving pretty well, and like she was having a pretty good fight. And I want to say Alexis like eventually took her down, I think, but didn't matter. Was this the fight where didn't somebody land a Superman punch, or am I thinking of another fight?
No, Vivian.
Yeah.
Vivian landed like a bunch of them.
Yeah. I feel like she definitely landed a Superman punch. I remember that being. Yeah, I wish I remembered this fight more. It wasn't like a terrible fight. I just don't.
Yeah, no, it was a solid performance from Vivian Araujo because she might be like one of the most athletic women we've seen come into the UFC in a minute. Like pure like hand-eye coordination speed. Because she is fast as fuck. Like they're like in the first round, like Davis literally just could not see anything coming at her. She landed at like a 60 or 70% clip just because of like how quickly she was throwing them out there, and it probably would have been higher. But her style of offense is so draining that by the end of the first round, you could tell she was getting tired. And she ended up getting taken down in the second round and really couldn't do anything to get back up because of how tired she was, despite being a very good jiu-jitsu player, according to Joe Rogan. I mean, like having like national titles in Brazil and stuff. And then in the third round, she managed to dig deep and boxed up Alexis Davis for most of the round and was able to take decision. So this is a big win for her.
Like Davis is ranked. I don't remember where, like in the top 10 though. So, yeah. So Jesse, you said you don't remember much of the fight.
Me?
Well, Sensei, but you too. What do you remember about the fight, Joey?
This is absurd.
What's absurd?
my audio issue.
I mean, I can hear you now.
Oh, okay. Good win, Vivian. Moving on.
All right.
No, I just don't know how long I'm plugged in for. No, honestly, I'm really excited about Vivian Araujo. I just don't know if they're gonna matchmake her properly.
I mean, she's gonna fight Valentina Shevchenko, like, but maybe before the end of the year. Who knows?
First, yeah, like I can totally see them putting her against Jessica Eye.
Oof, that's a no-no.
I'm just saying, like, I could see it.
Well, that's your punishment at flyweight. You want to come in and you want to be victorious? Here's Shevchenko in your third fight. Have fun.
Basically.
Give it all you got, kid.
What does Alexis Davis do now? That's 3 in a row.
Is it 3 in a row? Who else did she lose to? Kagan and Maya. I don't know. It's really weird because she beat the woman who is now the number 1 contender like 19 months ago.
Right.
Give her someone who's lower down, or give her someone who they think is like about to break through, I guess.
Oh boy, so she's gatekeeper status.
Yeah. Or not like about to break through and fight for the title, but like who's on
a prospect who needs a test.
A prospect who needs somebody who's ranked. So like someone like I don't know, Paige Van Zandt. Not really much of a prospect, but at this point, like you're either in on her or you're not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What if she went back up in weight for Aspen Ladd?
I mean, I'd be fine with that too. It's just
who knows when we're going to see Aspen Ladd again. Because I would like for her to have more time off, like with the weight cut and the knockout and everything like that.
Just go up in weight, Aspen.
Yeah. Then you can fight Amanda Nunes at 145.
one way or another.
You thought that other fight got stopped quick.
Goodness.
Wait till that first jab lands.
I'm.
But congrats to Vivian. Won via unanimous decision. This next fight I actually was really looking forward to. Hakeem Dawodu versus Yoshinori Horie. I didn't know who Yoshinori was before the fight, so I went to look him up. And because of him, I now know that Issei Tamura is still out in Japan fighting people because he beat Yoshinori, which is kind of wild. Knocked him out, actually. So that's a tidbit. But I don't know if I didn't watch enough of Yoshinori's fights because I felt like I think I only watched like 2 of them. But I felt like the 2 that I watched, he didn't fight like this. Like there wasn't all this bouncing around and I don't know if this is just something he did on the fly or maybe he did do this and I just wasn't really noticing it. But yeah, first round, he comes out, a lot of bouncing around on the inside, getting in, getting out. Seemed like Hakeem was getting, I don't say frustrated, but couldn't really get a beat on it. Kind of had to took him some time to kind of find his groove. And it just seemed like the longer the fight went on, kind of what I thought would happen is that out of the 2, like Dawodu, I think is much more technical and much more patient. And it just seemed like second round slowed down a little bit. Yoshinori was still bouncing around, but I like what Hakeem was doing. He landed a couple leg kicks, and then the times that they would clinch, he was landing some really good knees. And it just seemed like the longer the fight went on, he started to found his groove a little bit more. The fight started to slow down more, and then in that third round, Yoshinori was not as mobile as he was in the first 2, and not moving at as fast a pace. So Dawodu was able to just connect more, and once again punched him in the clinch with knees. And then boy, that finishing sequence, knees him, catches him with a head kick right to the chin, drops him. I think he got caught with something before that too. He took a lot of Dawodu really dished it on him that third round. I think that's probably why that fight got stopped, because he took a lot of punishment in that third, and then to end it with that head kick was kind of like, all right, yeah, you're probably done. I like Dawodu. I enjoyed watching him, and I don't think they were called PFL. I think it was still War Series of Fighting, but I liked him over when he was over there. I'm not expecting him to like be a champ or anything, but I enjoy watching his fights. I like his fighting style, so I was happy to see him get this win. But I like Yoshinori too. I hope he can stick around. I wouldn't mind seeing him in another fight. But I'm always down for head kick KOs. That's my favorite form of a finish. So congrats to Dawodu.
This was like a showcase fight for Dawodu, right? It wasn't like they had somebody and then they pulled out and they just had to go with like the last person.
No, I think this was it was maybe pretty much a showcase. Yeah, I don't think this was a last minute like put together.
I've seen that highlight on ESPN a whole bunch this morning, so like I guess it panned out from that perspective, but from like a developmental perspective, dude, you gotta learn to cut the cage off. Like I get that Poirier was like landing early with that big leaping right hand, and that he really didn't want to engage for longer than he had to, but at the same time, like you're gonna get opponents like that. You gotta learn to cut the cage off. When he did manage to tie Poirier up, he beat the ever loving crap out of him. Even the second round before that big flurry at the end of the fight, he would grab onto him, land like a quick knee and elbow, and then break, or Poirier would like push away and try to run as quickly as possible. Dawodu is, if he's going to be something that's going to take a while for him to get there. I think he's still adding pieces to his game and getting comfortable doing the home Muay Thai thing in the cage. But yeah, he's going to have to learn to cut the cage off if he's going to be successful and force guys to fight with him. 145, there are a lot of dudes in this division who can move with a lot more purpose than Poirier. And that's the thing. Like Poirier wasn't even giving him like looks. It was just like he's circling to his left the entire fight. Like good on him. When he did manage to get his hands on him, he hurt him and was able to eventually put him away. But you kind of hope your striker is able to force exchanges when that's his game. So that's all I got. Yeah.
Concur. Hakeem Dawadu is careful because he's not progressing quick-ish, and you wonder how patient they're going to be. And
He's Canada's best male prospect.
right, I'm saying like how they balance. We need a Canadian star with we need this kid to grow is going to be interesting. And cut off the cage for the love of God, my man.
Oh, a kick.
You don't have to mix it up a little bit.
Yeah, I think that movement just kind of, I don't know, especially coming off the Bokniak fight where you got a guy who is kind of willing to openly engage, and then you come in this fight and it's like, all right, this guy, what's all this bouncing around? Like,
It's all this riff-raff.
right? What's all this commotion? I just want to throw hands and feet. Just stay here for a little bit.
Who does Dawado train with? Do you guys know?
I want to say it's like a small Canadian team. Hold up. I actually knew this once. He trains with Champions Creed MMA, Mike Miles kickboxing team. Yeah, he is a kickboxer first, like, or a Muay Thai guy. Like he was on the he fought for the the amateur Muay Thai league that's up there, and he was like a champion there.
Gotcha.
But let's see, Champions Creed head coach Brian Bird, Brad Cardinal. The first fighter listed. Hakeem Dawadu, Noah Ali, Jerry Evans. Yeah, I'm not recognizing any of these other dudes.
So he's probably
He's
judging by those names, he's a big fish in a
relatively small pond. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just wonder how much wrestling training he does, because I think he could have taken Poirier down a few times.
Yeah.
That's one way to stifle all that movement. Yeah, that's one way. But we'll see. I guess my expectations for him aren't like crazy high. I just kind of enjoy watching him fight. I'm really just don't know where he's gonna eventually land, but I guess so far so good, decent. You're winning, so that's something.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see, but he won via TKO with a head kick. So shout outs to him. Next fight, don't have really a ton to say. Gavin Tucker versus Sung Woo Choi. Well, I will say that Sung Woo Choi is a huge featherweight. Dude is really like just tall and rangy for no reason. But just in the fight, like we had mentioned earlier, just a lot of grappling. We've seen Gavin have quote unquote, fights that are, I guess, more like aesthetically pleasing, so to speak. But I think he just did what he needed to do to get the win. I don't know. I guess he felt maybe he just had advantage with the wrestling, with the grappling, and he just kind of chose to exercise that. And Choi had some decent moments on the feet. Like I said, dude's just really long and rangy, but couldn't really deal with the grappling. Gavin got him down, took his back. I forgot who reffed this fight. They did the hop step to see if he was getting choked out because his face was like up against the cage.
Got it.
Yes, he had to do like the hop just to jump over to see the good angle. But no, I mean good for Gavin. Like coming off of I can't remember who was the last fight he lost to. I cannot remember who he lost to.
Red line.
Yeah. Yeah, Glenn and that beard. He or the stash, but just I think he just wanted to come back, get a confidence builder. So it might not have been like the most aesthetically, visually fun fight to watch, but just came back and got a win. I'm not mad at it. So congrats to Gavin Tucker.
Yeah, he was out for like 2 years, right?
Yep.
Was it USADA? Was it injury?
Injuries, just injured.
Just injuries? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, he looked fine. Like, I don't think Troy expected him to go out and wrestle him. And it kind of showed because Troy got a little bit better at defending the takedowns as the fight went on, as opposed to like in the first round where Tucker would just duck under and automatically Troy was just going down. But yeah, no, it was essentially just Tucker taking Troy down repeatedly. Troy sometimes having like a brief moment of just like, oh, I've got a Darce choke or an Anaconda choke or something, and then immediately giving that position up and getting his back taken or something. And now a whole bunch of dissect from that. It looks like Tucker's been working on his wrestling, and I believe this is his first fight while he's been at TriStar. Is this the fight where they were talking up Faraz Zahabi?
I think so.
All right, yeah. So, yeah, I guess it's to be expected that he's now a wrestler. So,
Fair.
There we
Really
go.
well put. Just a weird fight. I don't know. Something took me out of it. But yeah, like I don't know. Just I guess I expected more from Tucker because I don't think highly of Choi, but he got the win and the sub, so all good.
yeah.
Yeah, I thought it would be a little more like to the fight, I guess. But it was a win, so I ain't gonna I'm gonna pour on the guy too much.
Right. I also think this was the fight where Rogan really started to annoy me, so that might have helped too.
Oh boy. Well, moving on to the flyweights, who seemingly just put on great fights, even at the expense of nobody knows if they're gonna have a home soon, but they keep showing out. They're fighting like they want to stick around. Davison Figueiredo versus Alexandre Pantoja, definitely one of the fights I had circled on this card. Boy, does Figueiredo hit hard. And boy, can Pantoja take a shot, because there was I guess I thought this fight would be a little more like back and forth. I felt like Figueiredo just kind of beat him up. Like, it was a fun fight, don't get me wrong. But I thought Pantoja would just have more moments. And I feel like he just didn't have as many as I thought he would. And he just, we had some brawling moments, that I think he took him down a couple times, but wasn't really able to make much of it. It just seemed like Pantoja wasn't able to get much consistency going. Meanwhile, Figueiredo was out here landing bombs and just doing Figueiredo things. I can't remember if it was the second or the third, but at one point he caught Pantoja with an uppercut that I was pretty sure was going to end his life, and he just ate it. Like, he just kind of kept going. So I was surprised that Pantoja was able to he took a lot of punishment. But no, this fight was kind of it was exciting as I thought it would be. Like, it was violent. Figueiredo is going to come. He's going to throw a lot of bombs. He hits like ridiculously hard. Just Pantoja couldn't get enough really consistency going with his game, and Figueiredo was just out here he was out here clowning. And boy, he landed I think it was the third round. He landed like 4 stepping elbows in a row. Like, he just spammed the elbow and it just kept working. So good on Davison, man. Just long live the flyweights. Long live the flyweights. But Davison Figueiredo won that via unanimous decision.
Yeah, God. Yeah, Figueredo, just when he has your range and timing down, like he's gonna fucking hurt you. Like Pantoja,
It is quite true.
Pantoja, just like he was coming on in that second round, it looked like he was like getting like Figueredo was like losing a little bit of steam, and then all of us like, and apparently he had hurt his right hand or something. And then all of a sudden, Figueredo like, fuck it, I'm gonna just throw like elbows from like 3 feet out, and it worked. And all of a sudden, Pantoja's on his back with like 10 seconds left on the clock, wondering what the hell just happened. It's great. Yeah, no, like this is just. Pantoja kind of reminds me a little bit of like Jussier, where like he's made all these improvements and he's so good at what he does, but it doesn't matter because he's not that great of an athlete compared to the dudes he's fighting. Like Figueredo is like a freak athlete at flyweight, which is saying a lot considering who's at the top of the division. And like, to Pantoja's credit, he fought as hard as he could. Like he came on in that last minute and he realized if I'm throwing first, it makes it harder for Figueredo to like hit me. But like too little, too late. Like the speed difference and the power difference was just too much to make up.
He dropped him in one of the rounds too, didn't he?
Figueredo?
Yeah, didn't he drop him?
End of the second round.
Yeah.
Man, like this fight told me like how high the gap is between the top 3 at flyweight and everybody else. Because Formiga had no problems with Figueredo, and Figueredo's wiping everybody. But Benavidez ran through Formiga twice, so it's like the top 3 in this division are insanely good, you know. And there's room for growth for Figueredo. I think I saw a better version of him than I did in any of his other fights. I still think he's a little too reckless and a little too wild at times, but it works, man. It works being that like that brawler when you got to be, because he's always going to have the better power advantage, and his timing is really good. So when brawls break out, more often than not, he's going to win them. And I like for Pantoja, this is like the 3rd time in a row where he's gotten that step up and gotten kind of checked back. So, or that not that step up, but like a big time fight, and he's not performed. I mean, he had a great fight, but he lost. Is what I'm saying.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
you kind of wonder where he ranks now. And for Figueredo, I mean, this division's thin, but they're probably going to start signing a bunch of guys soon. So keep fighting and like carve out that niche before there's a big influx.
So are you under the impression that flyweight's staying? Do you think it's staying around?
This is gonna piss you off. I did not hear any of that.
Oh.
So repeat.
I'll say, so are you under the impression that flyweight's going to stay around?
Yeah, because I think they like Cejudo and want to keep him happy. So I think that as long as Henry can defend both belts, it'll be around.
Yeah, that was my prediction. That Henry winning that belt put flyweight, it extended the life support.
If Benavidez wins it, I think it'll stick around. If anybody else besides Benavidez and Cejudo win, they're going to cut, folks.
What if they're Chinese?
That would suck. Like somehow somebody else not name them 2 wins, and just Dana comes right in after they're celebrating. Like, it's over.
Congratulations, you're all released.
Right.
Congratulations, we sold. It's like when you have that office party, and then they come in and let you know that it's done.
Oh boy, we've all been promoted.
Figueredo's elbows were the greatest thing on this whole card.
Yeah, those elbows were wild.
Because like you see other fighters throw step and elbows, but he was so committed to it. It's all he had because he broke his hand.
It was just the fact that he did them like repeatedly, like in succession, like back to back. Like I'm just spamming the X button. Like I'm just gonna keep throwing these.
You want to talk about some gnarly shit? He dropped the guy with his broken hand. Short right hook.
Hey man, that's a bad man. That's a bad man. Worthy of the God of War moniker. Some people have nicknames that I don't think they've earned. I think he can keep that.
I'm just thinking of and like what Henry's gonna dig up for this.
He's gonna come in painted up like Kratos.
In full body garb.
That
Yes.
huge head he has.
Jesus, that's rude, man.
Hey, he has a large noggin.
I'm thinking he's gonna get like one of those Atreus plushies. Because if you play the God of War, so if you play the recent game, Kratos has a kid now, so he's just gonna show up with one of the plushies and tear it up in front of people.
Oh boy, but yeah, congrats to Figueroa,
So
man.
he's gonna like bite it and pull it apart slowly. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was say great from Figueroa, man. That was awesome. That was all the violence I thought it would be. Just I thought it was gonna be a little more back and forth, but God of War had other plans, so kind of is what it is.
Pantoja had his moments. No shame to him.
Yeah. He tried.
Perfect.
And these last two fights, which were on the Fight Pass prelims, Jillian Robertson versus Sarah Froda. I just remember a lot of this fight taking place on the ground, and Froda tried to land like a reverse triangle that she went for like 2 times, didn't get it. And ended up punishing her on the ground, got a TKO. I don't really have much else to break down of that scrap.
No, pretty one-sided.
Abandon the leg lock. Like in women's MMA, it's becoming a problem. Just bail on it.
I mean, if it's gonna lead to finishes like these, I say keep going for it. Sell out hard.
Hey man.
For the wrong person, in theory.
Yeah. I mean, whatever helps.
Hey man, it's one of those moves when you go for that, you know what you're getting into.
I don't know.
You know the risk.
I just watched Irene Aldana give away a fight with a bad leg lock, so I'm perturbed. Julia Robertson's a damn good 125er.
Yep. She's not 4-1 in the UFC.
Yep.
She only lost to Maria Bueno Silva. Where is she? Yeah. I hope she has fun fighting Valentina Shevchenko as well.
Yep.
At the same time.
Yeah.
They're gonna put Shevchenko in like a 4-on-1. It's gonna be a tournament, but not really a tournament. It's gonna be one of those handicap matches.
It's a gauntlet match. Valentina has to fight Robertson.
You gotta fight like the entire top 5.
KGB Lee, and like Montana De La Rosa.
All in one night.
And then if she wins those, she gets Goro.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And whoever the Shang Tsung is, that who was the Shao Kahn? Not a Mortal Kombat guy.
Yeah.
Both of those names are correct though. I'm just trying to think like who's the Shang Tsung of the UFC.
Who's the Shang Tsung?
Oh boy. Let me go. I'll go off on a tangent, trying to just think of some random person. But no.
Would Amanda Nunes be no? If I've got my Mortal Kombat right.
Well, I'm trying to think. Is she Shang Tsung or more of a Shao Kahn? I feel like Shao Kahn's a little more like brutal. I think she might be more of a Shao Kahn. Like you see her and it's like, oh God, like Jesus Christ, I'm not trying to do this. Like I don't want to do this. I gotta get out of here. But no, congrats to Jillian. Like you said, a good performance. Pretty one-sided. And his last fight I can't comment on because I did not see it at all. But Eric Cook defeated Kyle Stewart via unanimous decision. I'm just gonna assume punches and kicks and maybe a takedown happened.
It was Coke taking Stewart down for like 3 rounds. which
Did not
is kind
see
of
it.
impressive. Oh, sorry.
No, I was just gonna say I didn't see it. I thought you were done.
Oh yeah, no, it was Coke taking Kyle Stewart down for 3 rounds, which was kind of impressive because Stewart's freaking huge and Coke is a former 145er. But he didn't really do
Oh
much
snap!
there.
This is at welterweight.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ!
yeah.
I was
So
thinking like at one point when he's supposed to fight like Aldo back in the day.
yep.
Yeah.
What an ass whooping that would have been. Yeah, no, but it's not really not a whole lot happens. You got his first win at welterweight. I don't see this style carrying him very far in this division because everybody can wrestle. Everybody's big, so it'll be interesting to see what happens next.
We'll see. I might have to go back and watch that now just to see what he looks like as a welterweight. I did not know this fight was at 170. But yeah, that was UFC 240. It was a cool card. You know, like I said, outside of the two fights that kicked off the main card, those were kind of meh. So if you go back to rewatch, you can skip those. Didn't miss anything. But rest of the card was pretty solid. Holloway, Edgar was good. Cyborg, Spencer, Jeff Neal, Nico Price, of course. Then on the prelims, you know, good performance from Vivian. The Dawodu fight had a nice finish. Figueroa and Pantoja was a good fight. So it was solid card. Not the best card. Kind of we summed it up earlier. It had the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. So the fights that were good were good. Fights that weren't so good were just
We're not so good.
Yeah.
Really bad. The roller coaster.
Yeah.
You know, the lows are really low. The highs are pretty high.
Yeah.
There weren't too many lows though, so
Yeah. Unlike last week's card, I think there were more highs than lows. So yeah, if you want to go back, if you missed out on the card, you want to go back and rewatch it, you'll pull something away from this. There was at least a little bit of substance here, unlike last week's card, where I think we all just kind of left like why did we even do this to ourselves? We deserve better.
we have to treat ourselves better.
Yeah, self-care, self-care 2019.
Self-care 2019 is skipping bad UFC cards.
Right. Last week was not self-care. It was not good.
Self-flagellation.
But no, that was UFC 240. So go back, give the fights that we mentioned a watch. Go back and check out Rising 17, and if you want to watch Gervonta Davis win inside of 2 rounds, you can go watch him knock out Nunes. I feel like there was another card I wanted to give a shout out to. Didn't PFL have a card? They had a card.
Yes, they did.
Yeah, shout out to them. The Thursday Night Monopoly. I was like they do Thursday nights. I didn't get a chance to really watch their card, but go watch the PFL card too. They probably did some fun things. Some probably. I gotta go back and watch the Andre Harrison and the other dude. I heard that fight was pretty good. But go give all the fights we mentioned to rewatch. Pretty solid weekend of fights. I don't have it. Let me pull this up. What we got going on next week? We will have UFC. Oh, that is on August 3rd, UFC on ESPN 5, the Covington versus Lawler card, which also has, oh Lord, this main event, co-main event. Clay Guida and Jim Miller. We got Little Gastelum, Nasrat Hack Parash versus Joaquin Silva. Trevin Giles versus Gerald Mershart. All right, I'm looking down this list. I'm not getting a lot of. All right, there's not a lot to get excited about on this.
Very main card heavy.
Yeah.
I mean, even then, the main card isn't.
Yeah, even the main card is still.
Well, I mean, on one hand, yeah, but on the other hand, this starts at like 3 p.m. You'll be in and out before dinner.
Yeah.
I'll be at work, so.
Yeah, be one of those kind of quick in and out.
Oh man.
I don't know, but there's a card next week. There'll be some fisticuffs flying around, so we'll have to talk about it anyway. But hopefully it turns out to be one of those cards that even if there aren't like a ton of meaningful fights, just.
I'm upset that Quayo Silva didn't make the main card, despite the fact that he has beaten Leon Edwards, Nordine Taleb, and Danny Roberts.
They watch those fights, that's why.
Well, real quick, There
I
is a
mean,
one championship card next week.
ooh, who's on that?
It's actually pretty good. We got Martin Lin versus Koyomi Matsushima. Edward Foliang versus Eddie Alvarez. Mighty
Oh,
Mouse versus
that's the stacked one, yeah.
Tatsu Mitsuwada. So, yep, Yuya Wakamatsu's on the card. This is one championship, Dawn of Hero. Didn't they use his name already?
I mean, probably, but also probably not.
It's a sequel.
I swear
Heroes keep dawning, dude.
There
They
was
don't
a
just
card
stop
like
dawning.
2 months ago that was called Dawn of Heroes.
No, they don't just stop dawning. They just dawn again.
But that's going down on August 2nd. This will honestly probably be the better card. I'm pretty sure. There are a lot of good fights on this one. So go watch one
Any
championship.
boxing you got going on?
Well, see, I'm on Sherdog. Sherdog doesn't show the kickboxing.
Ah,
They only show the MMA ones.
Uh,
But even so, if there are kickboxing, it just adds to what's already a really good card. So
no, I meant in general. We got any like other cards? We got any
any-
boxing going on, or
we got Marcus Brown versus Jean Pascal, which I don't think anybody's actually looking forward to.
I'm not. I'm definitely not.
Yeah. Chris Arreola versus Adam Kaunaki. Curtis Stevens versus Wale Omotoso. Yeah, not a whole bunch going on
Curtis
there.
Stevens still kicking around.
Yeah,
Interesting.
he's been memeified, but he's still here.
Oh, there you go. There will be fisticuffs to be thrown next week. So, get in where you fit in. Find what you want to watch, and go watch people get punched and kicked in the face. But that is all we got for today's episode. So, guess we can go ahead and close with parting shots and shout outs. For the first time in a long time, I don't have a shout out, but I do have a shot, which I don't have often. I haven't had a shot in like a month. But I went out yesterday and I saw a YouTube video that my friend showed me. This is something that already happened like 2 years ago, so I know I'm late, but I had to bring this up because it's hilarious and it's still MMA related. So I'm throwing a parting shot about 3 years late to a gentleman named Jay Quiros. I wonder if that's even his real name after this story. I don't know. But Jay Quiros was a quote-unquote IBJJF recognized black belt under the world-famous GF team. He ran a serious McDojo. I want to say was this in New York? I think this was in New York. So if you type in Jay Quiros' name and last name Queiroz, if you type in his name in YouTube and you just watch these McDojo videos of him and his students, it is a it's something. It's something. You watch these videos of him rolling, doing his jujitsu, quote unquote. Boy, it looks rough. He was trying to teach his students how to do a single leg, and he just had his head exposed to be guillotined at any moment. Like, there literally videos of him in his gym, like practicing rolling, and they're like it looks like they're at like a public park, like outside of a school. It's bad. Like words can't really put into description what you just gotta watch it. But he was exposed by a gentleman named Mike Palladino, who was actually a legit Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner. So there's a video of Mike going to his gym, and they have this really long conversation. And Mike is like, "Yeah, I want to roll," and Jay's like, "No, I can't. I'm not gonna roll with you. You're not a black belt." He's like, "Dude, I just want to roll. I thought you did jiu-jitsu." He's like, "I do roll. But I'm not rolling with you." And they went through just this whole argument, and Mike just calling him out like, "Where'd you get your black belt from?" And he ends up, I ain't gonna say kicked him out the gym, but Mike ended up leaving. And before he left, he was like, "So are you a black belt?" And Jay was like, "I want to thank you for coming to my gym today." He was like, "No, are you a black belt?" He said, "I want to thank you for coming to." He was not trying to answer the question. So shout outs to Mike for exposing the McDojo, but just parting shot to Jay for don't be the McDojo guy. It's never a good look. Like those training videos were I don't know if you call them training. I don't really know what they were. It was bad. It was terrible. But this happened back in like 2015, 16ish. But just go watch the videos on YouTube. It's hilarious, but it's terrible. But it's MMA. Well, technically it's jiu-jitsu, but McDojos are just kind of weird. It's weird, and the fact that he had students was even crazier. But yeah, parting.
No, go ahead.
No, they're just parting shot to Jake Hieros for being a McDojo guy, and shout outs to Mike Palladino for exposing him. Just say no to McDojos.
It's such a shame that we didn't have like YouTube back in like the 80s and 70s and like video recording.
Oh my god.
Because you know
The shit from back then must be wild because they had no idea what fights looked like.
Frank Dukes.
Like there was a sizable amount of people who thought professional wrestling was real. Like,
I'm just
imagine what these people must have been practicing in the gym.
Whatever.
Right?
Need a whole just like McDojo documentary.
now I'm thinking about it. Yeah.
people try to do like death calls and like stop your heart from like beating and stuff like that.
I'm just thinking about those like knockoff Tiger Schulman gimmicks.
Oh god. Shouts to Jose Ramirez who beat Maurice Hooker yesterday, knocked him out in I think the 6th round. Like really, really good performance from him. So props to him. I believe that fight was on DAZN. It was for the WBO and the WBC super lightweight titles. So now now number 1 super lightweight in the world. So props to him for that. What else?
Salute.
Shouts to all the women who were part of the WNBA All-Star Weekend because that was this past weekend. So props to them. From what I heard, it was a good show. I didn't get to watch because I was in New York, but I heard it was great. So props to them. Joey, do you have a shot for us?
Oh, like actually, to piggyback off what you said, the only props I have is for Erica Wheeler, who won the MVP despite not being drafted.
Yeah.
Not a WNBA fan guy or whatever the case may be, but that story popped up on the timeline and I thought it was pretty cool. That's it. Just be good to people. Be good to one another. My message whenever I leave here. Always be good to people.
Why is Sammy Sosa trending?
Don't click on it. I don't even know what it is, but I'm just telling you.
Don't know.
It's just people finding out that he bleached his skin.
Oh, y'all about 10 years late to that party, buddy.
I swear to God, Twitter rediscovers something every fucking day.
Yeah.
Well, you gotta get mad about something every day when you're on Twitter.
I mean, there's plenty to be mad about. Like,
I'm just saying, you just can't get mad about the same thing all the time. I guess it gets old.
True. You gotta. Twitter has to have like an angry rotation. Every
Angriest place on earth.
Yeah. Hate makes the world go round, unfortunately.
it generates engagement.
Angriest place on earth is Twitter, and then like the DMV.
See, we need to start naming our episode titles like I can't believe Frank Yeager sucks now. And we'll get all the hate on YouTube.
We're going the clickbait route.
Yes.
Literally shaking about Olivier Aubin Mercier.
we don't change anything about the show.
We just changed the title.
We just changed the title.
God, I have a certain hatred for clickbait in my heart that just really, really bothers me. Who started that, man?
I do have a hatred for that. I have a bigger hatred for people who just don't read the story. Who comment and then read? Like, read first.
I don't read if it's clickbait.
I was saying, like, yeah, we're talking about.
I just ignore your whole article.
There you go. Don't just, but like the people who get mad before you get emotional.
Yeah. Gotta seek out your facts first. But that's all we got for today's episode. So as always, give us a listen. SoundCloud, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play. Send questions to Dojotalkpodcast at yahoo.com. Hit us up on social media at the Dojo Talk Podcast Facebook page, as well as the Instagram page. And follow me on Twitter and Twitch at Serial Sensei. And as always, anytime people are being punched and or kicked in the face, we will be there to talk about it. And until next time, we will catch you guys later.